you can't stop it now.
Like a student though, working on a movement, yeah, I'll do it cause I'm in the zone. And you know that I'm ready for the shows. How it goes, I don't know, but I'm waiting till I'm chose. Front row, here I go. All these people wanna know what you think of them lately. Do you really love me or do you really hate me? On a scale of 1 to 10, what would you grade me? All this social media has got me going crazy lately. Everything's inflated, mainly everyone's invaded. Privacy is naked, man, I really hate it. God, I really hate it. I just wanna make it through all this fake shit. Living in the real life, living for some real times. Talk about the real climb, passionate in real rhymes. Steal time back from my 9 to 5, taking back my fucking life. I just wanna feel alive.
And I'm the one to get it, bro. I swear to God, I get it, bro. So don't just let me get it.
Yeah, let's go.
I'm gonna get it, yeah.
Yeah, I'm the one to get it, bruh. I swear to God I'll get it, bruh. Hey, I ain't never giving up. Yeah, I never give up. Fake it till I make it. Motherfucking take it back from these haters. Playing tracks for the traitors. Got the passion in depths when it happens. Factions take actions, drafting their captains. It's happening. I'm raising my status, facing the madness. I'm out gaining traction, avoid the distractions. I'm snapping, no captions, attracting reactions, adapting, attacking, commanding the masses. I'm practicing habits. I don't fucking ask it, I just fucking grab it. I am never sad.
Simplexity is a Danish designer and manufacturer of high-grade sim racing platforms. There are 3 different levels of platforms come in a variety of colors and configurations. Choose from the V4, built from 40 by 40mm extruded aluminium profiles, the V8 built from 80 by 40mm profiles, and the high-tier V12 built from 160 by 40mm extruded aluminium profiles. Prices range from 470 to 750 euros. Go to facebook.com/simplexity.eu and start a messenger chat to inquire more about the options for colors and customization.
Communication. It started out as a conversation between 2 people, but as time went by and people's needs became greater, they developed more ways to communicate. Businesses today need to minimize incomplete connections. Therefore, it is critical that they provide optimal service. Xilinx desktop, mobile and web applications can process everything from normal calls and callbacks to chats, emails and social media inquiries. Let Xilinx liberate your business.
Hello everybody and welcome to the GTR24 Sprint Series for round 3 here at Zolder. It is going to be a fantastic race here today. We've got qualifying going on at the moment. It's me, Ewan O'Leary, commentating for you today, and I will have company later on, and we'll introduce him a little bit later when we do get the 2 of us here. But for now it's just me in this qualifying session. 24.5 minutes still to go, and yeah, we're at Zolder for the 3rd round of a series which is seemingly getting better every week at the moment. It seems to be doing very well. We've got 26 cars out there on track at the moment. Well, not out on track, but we've got 26 cars lined up and they're all ready, and they're just making their way around for their first laps in qualifying. As you can see, we've got a nice little selection of different cars, lots of different ones, quite a lot of McLarens compared to what we've seen in the previous days. I don't think that McLaren have even had a top 10 yet in this series, and no indeed they have not. I believe their best result has been 15th back at Spa 4 weeks ago now. So yeah, it's been pretty poor from McLaren so far, but maybe Zolder is the track for them. But yeah, we've got some Lamborghinis, Lexuses, Audi, Aston Martin, all sorts of cars, and of course Porsche, as you're seeing right now, Marco Pisic in the 58 car. That's Xilinx, of course. We've been doing quite well in the Amateur. We'll get to the championship in a moment though. We've got we can show that to you, we can bring that to you, although we didn't show it last week, but it wasn't much use last week because the championship standings were basically the same as the race results from the previous race. But now it actually matters because we've had 2 races and they've been 2 very good races indeed as well. So yeah, should be interesting to look at those when we get to it in a moment. But these guys just coming around for the first laps in the qualifying session. And we'll see who's going to be first across the line. It may well be Alexander Vromont in the AAA esports car, or could be Casper Henningsen. They're very close on the track. We'll see who it's going to be. It's going to be Henningsen first, and then this is actually Ralph Perringer that we're watching right now, so apologies for that one, that's Xilinx, but times are going to start to flood in now as we come across the line, and we'll see who jumps towards the top. Early on, it's Pierluca Amato first off for, it's the 7, well, it's supposed to be 71, but in the game, in my game at the moment, it is 71 in the game, so never mind, ignore me. But yeah, Amato, who has been doing well so far in this season. He's driving alongside Tiziano Brioni in Musto, in the Musto team, should I say. So I'm just going to refresh everything here, and then we'll get who is actually driving those cars, but it seems to me that some of them are a little bit off, but we can deal with that for now. So yeah, Piero Comato is up at the top at the moment. I don't really know how to say that name, but Hinsai is in second place, number 23, and then just 2 tenths separating those two, and then Daniele Primavera is in third, and then in fourth position we have Ralph Piringer in the Audi, and then it seems that we have Mikkel Seegard in fifth position, I believe, but the early times are only the early times, so we're not expecting these to hold up just yet, as Vromont just goes to the top there. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see who comes out on top in this qualifying session, but yeah, as you can see, all these guys just coming along. Amato just tries to improve, but he can't. And Tim Yarshaw, he looks like, who's gone to the top there. Euronics doing decidedly better on this occasion. It's quite interesting to note that 2 of their 3 cars have gone for Audis, and the other one, the 58 car, has gone for a Porsche. That's Marko Pizic deciding that he'd rather take a Porsche in this one alongside his teammate Leon Otoki. And the other 2 cars, the Intel car and the Omen car, have gone for Audis in this one. They've kept with their Audis, sticking to their guns, you could say, as they have done so far throughout this season. They've gone for Audis in all 3 rounds, apart from now, of course. But Casper Henningsen just gone into second place there with a 28.1, and this is already decidedly quicker than what we saw in free practice just a moment ago. While we were off air just analysing the times for just a moment, those times were nowhere near as good as the 27s which you got from Yarshaw at the moment. Scarily good pace from him at the moment. But it looks like we've got Yarshaw, Henningsen and Vromont top 3, but Vromont is just coming up the final corner now. We'll see what he can do about this qualifying session, just ticking over 20 minutes to go, and Vromont goes up into second place, so 27.7 from him, and it's looking very close, very close at the front of the field. He lost 1/10 in the first sector and then clawed a little bit back throughout the other 2, but not quite enough to topple Yarshaw, who has got the pole by just under just under half a tenth of a second, which is very close at the moment. So we're just going to run through the championship standings here, because we haven't done throughout the first part of this season. Hopefully you'll be able to see them in just a moment. And so as I'm just getting myself getting my own my own standings up here. We've got AAA Esports number 87 leading with a first and a second so far, so they've been doing very well indeed, with the only team actually to finish on the podium so far in both races, which is a pretty remarkable statistic for them at least. In second place we have Burst Esports number 94. They won last time around with Pedersen and Henningsen. Henningsen out there at the moment, and he is currently in third position, as you can see in this session. And then in third in the standings, it is Musto GD Esports with Brioni and Amato, who've come third and fourth in the season so far. Then we've got Euronics in third, Simply Race in fifth, and that rounds off everyone who's scored points in both races so far. So we've got the other Euronics, the 59 after that, then Butler Pal, who actually did score in both rounds, but it was only a 10th position last week at Brands Hatch. Then we've got Rookie Monsters, another Simply Race, then more Rookie Monsters and another Musto car. So yeah, it's all very close still. 10 points separate the top 2 in the championship, so there's lots up for grabs here, which is the most important thing. But here we are then, and in the just watching John Munro. Oh, he's off the road a little bit there. That's not ideal for his qualifying lap, and he's going to be down on his lap now, as Daniele Primavera is also out there on the circuit in the McLaren. Love saying his name, by the way. It's a good name, as he just makes his way through the number 98 car, and we'll see what they've got to offer for us today, partnering Alessio Picedo in that Musto GD Corsa car for this particular round, as he just comes towards what is known as turn 98, which is the corner names are slightly strange around here. I won't deny that, because just for an example, turn 7 is the chicane, the kind of triple cornered chicane. So where you go right, left, and then right again, double right to end off. That's all turn 7 apparently. All 4 of those corners is turn 7 according to the track map. So we're going to have to roll with that one, I'm afraid, as Primavera goes into 6th position there, in that 98, just behind Michi Hoyer, who is in the 95. But yeah, as I was saying, turn 7's a bit of a strange one, and the corner names are pretty unpronounceable to non-Flemish speakers like me, and yeah, so that's going to be a bit difficult for me to reel off the corner names in this one, I think you understand. But turn 9 of the kind of non-chicane after the hairpin down at the bottom of the course is named after Joachim Rindt, who has also got a corner named after him at Red Bull Ring, so he's lucky. I think you'll find, and the final chicane is named after Jack Hicks, so we're going to have to just go with those two for now, and kind of deal with the others as just corner names. But anyway, that's that out of the way, as Michi Hoyer currently in 5th position, currently seeing if he can make his way up the order for Burst Esport. So we're just going to get a bit of an off-board shot of him now as he just comes towards us. There's a lot of traffic, as you'll notice, on this circuit right now. I'm not sure if everyone's just clumping together at this particular moment, but it does seem pretty busy out there, and it's only a 1 minute 30 lap time, which is about the same as last week at Brands Hatch, but I don't remember it being quite this bad, as Hoyer just comes over the line, and he can't really improve. He's just 1/10 off his best lap time there. So as looks like Amato's just gone into 4th position, up the order there. Just looking for where the next big times are going to come from, really. Dan Kell's quite a long way down, interestingly. 20th position for him in the Bentley. So I'm surprised to see him quite so far down, but he is, unfortunately for him, and his Simply Race Zancho teammate Mike Epps is down in 26th at the moment. So I'm presuming that's not a representative time from Mike, and he's done a 31.3 for now, but I'm presuming he's going to improve on that one, kind of hoping that he will as well. So we'll see where he ends up, really. I'm hoping that he can get up the order a little bit, because he's a good driver indeed, and I believe they are just 5th position in the championship, so they're going to need a good result out of this one. But Dan Kell's just coming towards the final couple of corners now, the chicane, and just going down the gears with a little bit of traffic in front of him, but he's okay. And we'll see if he can jump up the order any, because he's quite a long way down at the moment. 20th position for him right now, and he does not improve. Oh no, he does, but he doesn't move up any positions in that particular lap, so that's a little bit of a disappointment for him. But one man on a bit of a move at the moment is Leon Otoki, who's also a little bit down the order, and in the Porsche I was just starting to question their decision, but despite being up a long way in the second sector there, he's not improved at all, so it's going to be disappointing with that, and he might be ruining his and his teammates' decision to move over to the Porsche, because his teammates are in 1st and 9th at the moment, whereas he's just down there struggling in 17th, and that's not what you want when you're up in 4th place in the championship. They are the best for the championship in terms of the 3 Euronics cars. Not really what you want there, so he's going to have to move up the order a bit, as we've got Tim Yarshaw on. A bit of an improvement here, it looks like. Or it looks like he's a 10th up at the moment, so we'll see if he can stamp his authority on everybody here. We've currently got about 8 cars within a second of each other at the moment, which is quite remarkable, but Yarshaw might be able to put a few of those out of the window as he just goes over the line now, just under 13 minutes to go, and he does indeed improve to a 27.4, and that is now 2.5 tenths quicker than Vromont, who is there in 2nd position. So we'll see what he's got for us later on, as Alexandro Biasiso, I don't really know how to say that, but I'm presuming he's Italian, just judging by the name, jumps up into 8th position, and John Munro in 10th position now. He's coming towards the final couple of corners, and he's on a half a second improvement, which would jump him up to around the top 5 region, which would be fantastic for the 24 team. Not doing too well in the season so far, but looking to step it up just a little bit in this season. We'll see if they can indeed do it. That's the other Simply Race car, not been doing quite so well, and John Monroe does indeed get up into 5th position as Yarshall on an improvement again. So he's on his completed 8 laps now. This is his 9th attempt, and he's still improving. So he's doing very well at the moment. I think you'll understand, and yeah, we'll see what he can do. As, yeah, it's just come to kind of late evening here at the circuit. I think the race is going to start at the same time, 5 o'clock. So I think that we'll be getting to dusky kind of conditions towards the end, as Yarshall does indeed improve now to a 27.2. So he is really going very quickly at the moment. And it seems that if you do consecutive laps in a row, that you do really start to to get the pace out of this. John Monroe's also improving on another lap, and Mike Epps is also out there improving. So we'll see if he can actually get up any positions. It's getting very busy with Alexis off the road there, down at turn number 8. Turn number 8, as Mike Epps just, oh dearie me, he slows down to try and let everyone through, and nearly brake checked Alexis there. Didn't quite identify which one that was, but we'll just brush over that, as John Monroe is actually getting out of the way of John Monroe, his teammate, who does improve now to 4th position. So very good results from him so far, and considering we didn't get a 27 in the session before this, it's very surprising to see that we've got 5 cars in the 27s now, and Yarshall is knocking on the doors of a 26 if he's not careful, as Daniele Brambilla just a little bit wide there for Optimum Motorsport. That's the number 68 car in the Bend Motorsport car, Motorsport Park, sorry, liveried car. Of course, we haven't quite got custom liveries in this game yet, so these guys will have to make do with the official ones, which is not too bad, because some of them are absolutely stunning. I think you'll agree, especially from the Spa round where the Hatsune Miku Mercedes won the race. And that is a very nice livery indeed, as Brambilla with that excursion off the road can't improve on his lap time, and he just backs off indeed. Pierluca Amato then for Musto is currently coming towards turn 8, the Jochen Rindt kind of section, and he's got a bit of traffic in front of him here. We'll go on board just for a moment. I was wondering if this is complete. This is not the right one. That's not the onboard camera I really wanted. That's the one. As all bit of cars chopping and changing in front of him. Gonna have to be a little bit careful. He's got a Bentley in front of him now, but he's not going to bother him as he comes out the final corner now. There's still 9 minutes to go in this session, don't forget. He goes over the line and goes into 2nd place. So good lap time from Amato, 27.6, but nobody can really get near Yarshall at the moment. That's the defining factor from this one. Nobody can really get anywhere near Tim Yarshall, which is a bit worrying for everybody. Really, Casper Henningsen's going to see if he can do anything about it, and no, he can't. He's backed off. Almost as soon as I start concentrating on him, he decides that he's not improving by enough. You can see right now we've got 4 of the top 6 in the pit lane, so guys just setting themselves up for a final assault. As Alexandro Piazzizo is currently in 9th. Got an Audi following him, but he's not going to be looking behind him, as it looks like Brambilla goes into 8th position. Oh, it was like Dan Kell, sorry, going into 9th. It's all chopping and changing, I think you'll understand. And when you've got 26 guys coming across the line, all improving at different times, it's kind of difficult to keep up with sometimes. But Piazzizo goes, well, very close to his previous best lap time, but he can't quite improve on it, and that's all we're focusing on here. As Michi Hoyer, speaking of improvements, he's making one right now in the Lexus, a car that won the race last week, 2 weeks ago in Brands Hatch. It was the Mercedes that won by just 3 seconds at Spa, and a Lexus winning by a decidedly little bit of a bigger margin in Brands Hatch in the south of the UK. But we're back into Belgium again for the 2nd time this season now. So yeah, that's going to be an interesting one. And it will be an interesting race indeed, as I was joking yesterday. It's kind of a lot of chicanes all in one, so it's kind of difficult. Bouncing across the curbs and all sorts of funny things going on, but Michi Hoyer does improve. 7th position for him at the moment, and nobody really making any startling improvements, as Mantis Rekas is currently in 13th for Audi. He's just following a fellow Audi actually in the 37 there. He just gets pushed down the order a little bit. I think that was Leon Otoki actually improving to 7th position, so the Porsche decision has been a good one it seems. The Porsches were right up there in Brands Hatch, but Brands Hatch and Zolder are two very different circuits indeed, I think you'll understand. And yeah, you're seeing it right now with Porsche nowhere to be seen really. Mantis Rekas improves to 12th position, and all kinds of improvements going on down in the bottom of the order. But Alexander Vromon here is going to look to see what he can do for his teammate. This is Lexus for these guys. I can't quite remember what they picked last week. It was an Aston Martin, so it's the 3rd different car in 3 rounds for the AAA Esports team, and he'll be handing over to Haniel Sabti later on in this race, or after an hour indeed, or just under. So yeah, it'll be interesting when he does do that. See what happens as into the final chicane now for Vromon. He's looking to do the business here, and he's currently got a 1/10 improvement as he just comes out of the chicane. We'll see if it actually pumps him up any positions. He has improved on his lap time, but he hasn't improved on his position. He's just 0.003 of a second behind Pierluca Amato, who is also on an improvement. So yeah, it's getting interesting up the top right now, as Amato just comes across the line himself and can't go into the top spots, but does improve very slightly on his previous best lap time. But looks like Yarshul's still 4/10 in the lead, which is well, quite a big margin really when you consider this circuit and how it's not very long really. So quite surprising to see him doing quite so well, or to see him have quite such a margin, should I say. So yeah, we'll see if that advantage holds up though. Dan Kell is currently out there in 14th position for Simply Race. So he's about halfway around the lap at the moment. He's clocking over 45 seconds right at the bottom of the circuit, and I am really noticing how busy this circuit is right now. Got a lot of entries today, and a lot of cars out there as well. 26 of them, as you have seen, or as you know, and the spread of the field is 3.5 seconds right the way down to Steven Salsgaard, who's down there in the 777 with a 30.9, and he's over 5/10 off anybody. So he's not having a great time of it at the moment, but he may well do later on as Dan Kell comes into the final chicane now. I'm getting to the business end here really, with 4 seconds to get us 4 minutes to go, sorry. 4 minutes still on the clock, fortunately for these guys, as Dan Kell gets into the top 10 with a 9th place at the moment. Interesting action so far, as we're just waiting for the next real improvement here. Looks like Mantis Rekas may well provide it for us, but the front guys not quite on it at the moment. They're just kind of waiting around for the final few minutes, and obviously that's going to be when the track is the fastest, so you're going to be wanting to be out there with in about 3 minutes time. You're going to be wanting to start your lap so that you can get it in before the timer runs out, or you can start your lap before the timer runs out, should I say, as Mantis Rekas continues on in the final chicane now, and he goes up towards the line, and we'll see where he can improve to. It will be a remarkable turn of events if he can get anywhere near the pole, but he can't even improve it, I'm afraid, at the end. Nearly half a second off as Michi Hoyer is improving, coming towards the line now, and he does improve there. 6th position for Michi Hoyer with the 28.1. Good lap time from him so far, but will he be able to get anywhere near the more front places? He's not quite broken the 27 barrier yet, and he'll be wanting to. He won't do it on this lap though, as he runs out very wide. Leon Otoki, 6th position for him, and he has broken the 27 barrier. Into it he goes. 6th position, so we've got Euronics in 1st, 6th, and in or a little bit down the order now. Ralph Perringer in 12th, so he's dropped down a little bit, but still doing okay. Just going to see what Vromont's got to offer us here. I'm not sure if he's on a lap or not. If I'm completely honest, it's not showing me with an improvement, and he does improve though. He gets closer to Amato, but he can't topple him. So yeah, very cagey session so far. Running out of time now, just under 2 minutes. John Munro's going to try, but he's really not improving on this lap, I'm afraid. Marshall in the pit lane, he must be happy with his lap time. As Pierluca Amato is going to set himself up, but yeah, it looks like John Munro's going to give this one another go. In the Bentley, we'll see what he can do for us. That was a 28.4, so that's not going to be representative. Casper Henningsen can't really improve either. Race winners last time out, and they were in the Lexus, so sticking to their guns right now, and that is good to see. Makes it a bit easier for us to, to recognise what's going on. As he just comes up and over the line in just a moment, and we'll see if he can improve, but I'm not especially hopeful. He hasn't indeed, he hasn't even got into the 27s there, so that is unfortunate, but Vromont is on an improvement here. This could get him into second place, but Marshall's so sure of himself in first position at the moment. He's not even out there on the circuit, and I think he'll be absolutely okay to take this pole position away from everybody else. As Vromont just comes over the line now, championship leader, and he goes. Oh, he doesn't improve. Well, he does improve, but the lap time doesn't count, so that is disappointing for them. So they may well drop down behind the likes of Henningsen and Munro, who are also still out there at the moment. Just 20 seconds left on the clock now, and well, this session really is getting to crunch time. But Yarshall looks pretty sure of himself. Oh dearie me. Munro with a little bit of a scruffy final couple of corners. He comes across the line anyway, and he cannot improve. So that's a bit of a disaster for him. I'm afraid Amato can't improve either. Oh, he does improve, but it doesn't count. Oh no, sorry, I'm reading the wrong column. He didn't improve, excuse me. Amato's going to give it one more go as time runs out here. And here we go. Henningsen into the final final complex, should I say. We'll see if this catapults him into the top 3. He goes over the line in just a moment in his Lexus, and he does not improve in his positions or in his lap time. Unfortunate for him, will Vromont be able to topple Amato in the race for second? Lexus 3 and 4 at the moment, but will Vromont make it a 2 and 4? We'll see. Oh, bit of a slide out the final corner, or through the mid part of the corner really, but he's going to angle off the straight anyway. And he goes still third. He can't improve on his lap time. But one man who really is improving is Pierluca Amato at the moment. So this is incredible. He really is improving. Nearly half a second it seems right now. This could be a snatch of the pole right at the end. Where has Amato been hiding this pace? Yarshall will suddenly be biting his fingernails here, because with the last man out there on the track, or basically the last man to set a lap time here, Pierluca Amato really could set this alight, but it looks like the session has ended, or has it? Because, yeah, it has ended, I'm afraid. Amato looked like he was about to improve and take pole, but the race will be coming up in just a moment. We will be joining you for the whole 2 hours, but for now, we'll take you to a commercial break. We'll be back very, very shortly.
Simplexity is a Danish designer and manufacturer of high-grade sim racing platforms. Their 3 different levels of platforms come in a variety of colors and configurations. Choose from the V4, built from 40 by 40 mm extruded aluminum profiles, the V8 built from 80 by 40 mm profiles, and the high-tier V12 built from 160 by 40 mm extruded aluminum profiles. Prices range from 470 to 750 euros. Go to facebook.com/simplexity.eu and start a messenger chat to inquire more about the options for colors and customization.
Communication. It started out as a conversation between two people, but as time went by and people's needs became greater, they developed more ways to communicate. Businesses today need to minimize incomplete connections. Therefore, it is critical that they provide optimal service. Xilinx desktop, mobile and web applications can process everything from normal calls and callbacks to chats, emails, and social media inquiries. Let Xilinx liberate your business.
Welcome back to the GTR24 Sprint Series here from Zolder. We are moments away from getting this race underway as we've got Tim Yarshall lining up alongside Pierluca Amato. The formation lap, is just going to begin in a very short moment, and we will be off racing before you know it for this race. And here we go. The guys 2x2 formation for a formation lap, but it's more like a formation straight, as here we go, coming towards the line now. When is Yarshall going to hit the gas and go? He's in control of the field as we just come across the line in a moment. When is he going to launch? As he is approaching the line very quickly. He's going to leave it very late, but he is finally going to go for this race, and the 2 hours at Zolder is underway. Covers straight away, but it looks like Brioni tried to go up the inside there, but he couldn't quite do it. Al Sabti has changed into that car, and he's in second place at the moment. He's trying to dive down the inside at turn number 2. That won't work. Or will it? There's contact, and it looks like Brioni's dropping down the order. He's dropping like a stone at the moment. Al Sabti goes in front of him. Pedersen goes in. Oh, there's going to be a big crash in the background if they're not careful. One of the Bentleys has been off the road there. Absolutely chaotic start in the background. And it all started with Al Sabti trying to get to, Vromont trying to get down the inside of Amato, but Amato trying to regain some of his losses against Leon Otoki. He jumps straight across the chicane. It looks like Otoki has had a bit of an issue there as well, because he's dropping down the order as well now, trying to recover, and he's down near the 50th position. Oh, look at all this madness going on in the background. This is going to end in tears for somebody if they're not careful. And here we go into the chicane. Goodness me, it is all getting very messy. But Yarshall continues to lead from Vromont, who really tried to stick it up the inside of Amato in the first few corners. Goodness me, what a mess it is back here. This is very entertaining down here, as everyone just looks like they finally sorted themselves out. Go back up front to see Tim Yarshall still leading in that Audi, and he's got 2 Lexus chasing him down. Vromont versus Henningsen, the guys separated by just 10 points in this championship. Amato kind of running on his own, and Michi Hoyer in 5th position, kind of heading a train there in the 3rd Lexus of the day. But look at all this, all these cars very close together right now. Michi Hoyer under a bit of pressure from Primavera. Oh, down the inside for Primavera. That's a brave move into turn number 2. They run side by side at the corner. Looks like Ralph Peering is going to try and buy his way into this one, and he has done. Oh, dearie me, look at Hoyer dropping like a stone now. And that's the second time I've said that in the first 2 minutes, but guys, when they get pushed out, are just dropping very quickly. It's almost like they've attached a parachute to their car and they're just going backwards. As now Hoyer tries to get down the inside of Reckers, who's got off the road there. Reckers in avoidance, and now it looks like Mike Epps is going to take advantage of both of them, side by side between Lexus and Bentley. Mike Epps is down the inside here. Dan Kell, watching brief, and can't quite do it. So, goodness me, I wonder where Mantis Records has got to. He went off the road and he's only just recovered now. 25th position for Mantis Records in the Team Rookie Monsters car. Absolute disaster for him. And Tim Yarsha's dropping down the order alarmingly quickly. He's had the race leader has had an off somewhere, and now Vromont is leading. Goodness me. All kinds of things going on in the first 3 minutes of this race. Apologies for missing that one. Vromont now lead from Henningsen, and Marcel and Primavera has found his way into 4th position. Oh goodness me. What a disaster there for the Euronics leader, Ralph Pieringer, down in 5th position. Just trying to find his teammate. Where's he got to? He's all the way down the order now. Tim Marshall, 24th position, and he's now battling with one of the Lexus. It looks like Brian Agard. Deary me, what a mess it has been so far. It's been very entertaining. You've no doubts about that one, but deary me. What chaos going on early on in this race. It's got a little group of four, much more than four, forming in the background. Looks like Amato and Primavera are starting to head a bit of a train that is going way, way, way down the order now. It looks like Amato is actually free, but Primavera is really beginning to get a bit of a train forming behind him. It goes down to Leon Otoki, basically, who's not even that much far down. Where is he? There he is. You can see Leon Otoki there in the lone Porsche for Euronics, but glad to see Ralph Pieringer is doing a bit better than Tim Yarshall early on in this race. Or is he? Michi Hoyer looking to make moves, and now Mike Epps is going to be all over the back of him. When you make those half moves like that, you really do put yourself in a bit of danger, but Michi Hoyer looks like he's pretty threatening on the back of that Audi at the moment. Can't make any moves down into the final chicane though. Lots of overtaking spots on this course, don't forget, because there's a lot of chicanes and a lot of slow speed corners, but as you've seen already, when making moves into these chicanes, it does become with a level of risk, it has to be said. Yeah, it's a little bit interesting. A bit wide there for Epps. He could be under pressure from Dan Kell, but they're teammates, so probably not. They'll just be holding back from each other, to be honest, and just waiting along. So then, early moments of this race, very chaotic, it has to be said. Amato is in 3rd position behind Henningsen and Vromont. Two Lexuses have got 1 second in between them at the moment. And yeah, Vromont just looks like he's got a little bit more pace than Henningsen. Amato's starting to catch Henningsen, actually, who I would say is the slower of the two drivers in that Lexus, the number 94 Burst eSport car. Jesper Pedersen is faster, in my humble opinion, but yeah, we'll see if that rings true. 6 minutes into this race, just about to complete lap 4 here, but the battles really are down the field. Primavera, Pieringer, the rest of them. Michi Hoyer looking the most racy, actually. And, well, is he going to stay back until the pit stops? You would hope not, and you would probably say no to that, as Vromont gets a drive-through for some reason. Not entirely sure why, but race leader Alexander Vromont and championship leader, don't forget. Oh, well, sorry, not championship leader. Excuse me. But, oh no, he is championship leader. Never mind. Ignore me. Yeah, championship leader. Drive-through penalty from the leader of the race, and that is going to drop him way, way down. So Tim Yarshall, pole sitter, had a disaster off the start, now 19th. Alexander Vromont, new leader, has also now had a disaster, with a drive-through penalty. So we're just going to see what that was all about. Lap 1, turn 2 for Vromont, so that is a big call. Big defence there from Pieringer, who's really under pressure from Michi Hoyer now in the Lexus. The Audi versus the Lexus, side by side into the chicane. Here, the triple corner chicane, and it looks like a nicer run through there from Hoyer. Can he get any kind of run? Oh no, he can't, and Mike Epps is now down the inside, and now Mike Epps is through. So great opportunistic patch there from Mike Epps, and Michi Hoyer's now under pressure from the Audi in behind. Daniele Brambilla looks like it's not even an Audi, it's a McLaren who's trying to get through. Dan Kell has dropped a couple of positions, and now side by side, Brambilla is through. side by side into the final chicane now for Mitchy Hoyer. We'll see if he can hold on. He can. Oh, damn nearly Brad Beers around. Oh, dearie me, Dan Kell's got involved. And now he's spun in front of the field. Oh, dearie me. Absolute. Oh, and he's been hit again by the number 166 there. Michael Bernberg is involved. And now it looks like the 57 is involved as well. Oh, dearie me, more contact. What a mess down here at the final chicane. Oh, my goodness me. Tim Yarshall has had a disaster. He's made contact, spun again, and Brambilla is into the pit lane. That will surely have to be investigated because that was very messy indeed. Drive-through penalty for the race leader then. We'll just comment on that for a moment. For his dive up the inside of Pierluca Amato at the second corner, sorry, on lap 1. So that's why he's in the headmaster's office. And he's come out with a bit of a beating, I'm afraid. And so this is going to be the battle for the lead between Henningsen and Amato when that drive-through takes shape. Romont there in first position. Goodness me, what a mess down there at the chicane. 6 laps complete, and it has been physical so far in this race. But Romont continues on for one more lap. Not quite sure how many laps he's got until he's going to be under pressure, of being disqualified for his. For not taking his drive-through, but yeah, Brambilla way down the order now. He actually took a pit stop there. It kind of drove the wrong way, really, to get into the pit lane, but you can understand why he'd want to get in there, and you can see him actually just caught a glimpse of him on the right-hand side in the pit lane. He was just exiting, presumably having his damage fixed and whatever. There were also the other man to spin in that moment was Tim Yarshall, who is now down in 23rd position after starting on pole. 23rd position for Tim Yarshall. And yeah, not good for him at all, but focusing on his teammate Ralph Piringer now. Mike Epps is just in behind, trying to make his moves. Mike Epps wasn't showing some fantastic pace in the early part of qualifying, but he really got his dander up in the final part, and now he's knocking on the door for top 5 already, which is quite a remarkable turn of events, I guess you might say. So yeah, this is the battle for 4th really, if you count Primavera in this as well. Yeah, Primavera, Piringer and Epps, kind of a 3-car battle, but Romont, I think he's going to be taking his drive-through on this lap. Otherwise he's going to be continuing on, and he does indeed take it. So Casper Henningsen is now going to be in the lead of the race from Pierluca Amato, who's been looking strong early on. But Henningsen has held his ground nicely, and now with that move, Henningsen and Pedersen are going to be in the lead of this championship. I know it's early on, but they will be in the lead of the championship as Primavera now takes 3rd position. Piringer and Epps are presumably going to be 4th and 5th unless they've had a bit of an issue. But I'm presuming they have not, and they are still going. They are indeed. So 4th and 5th for Piringer and Epps, and the battle for the lead really starting to take shape. Spread out just a little bit up the front of the field, because I think it's just these guys have realised it's a 2-hour race and they've calmed down really, but not going to calm down at the front of the field, I don't think. Amato looks like he wants to get through. Are we going to see Brioni versus Pedersen in the final part of this race? That would be a clash of the titans, let's say, because they are two very, very good drivers indeed. So Henningsen under a bit of pressure. Just 12 and a half or 11 and a half minutes gone, and Henningsen now leads after an incredible turn of events really. Tim Yarshall spinning early. It looks like he's even further down the order. Just a note on Alexander Vromon, by the way. He's down there in 16th position, a long way off where he was. He's just closing in on Mantis Records, who's not had the best start himself, and who's recovering. But Tim Yarshall in the pit lane, and is he out of the race? He is indeed, I do believe. Tim Yarshall has retired after pole sitter, or pole sitter, now retired, I'm afraid. And yeah, that's not good for him. 24 left in this race then. Brambilla down, and he is the last man on this circuit right now. But yeah, just focusing on the lead of the race really at the moment. Going to go down to the battle for 7th though. Leon Otoki is beginning to come under pressure here. Dan Kell involved in this battle, but he's been dropping back. Lasse Udegaard is in 9th position, or Udegaard, I don't know, something like that. Is in 9th position in the Aston Martin there, just in behind the Porsche. Sorry, that's not an Aston Martin, that's a Lexus, excuse me. 2 Bentleys following in behind, and Kell and Dixon there, Miles Dixon that is. As Toki really under pressure from Udegaard now, very close, and that Lexus really beginning to apply the pressure. Is he going to deliver a hammer blow in a moment? All wide there for Toki. Dearie me, just running a little bit wide for just a moment, but he's got it back on the road, and he does look a little bit oversteery on the exit of corners, or just going through corners in general really. But maybe that's how that Porsche likes to be driven. You need to use the traction in that car, don't forget, because the engine is still hanging over the rear wheels in that car, and so you can really use the extra weight there to kind of push down on the rear wheels and gain the extra traction. Now, that's maybe what he's trying to do there, but not particularly helpful in the high speed corners where your front wheels are trying to lift up at every possible moment. Yeah, as I said, not ideal for that to be happening, but so it does, basically, with those cars. So, Toki just really under a bit of pressure at the moment. Udegaard following him in behind. Looks like they're up to 9th, but they're following. Sorry, it's just the timing glitching out just a little bit. I'm hoping nobody's fallen down the order that I've missed. But that's entirely possible. Look how close Udegaard is now into this chicane. Looks like his best opportunity is into that chicane, but there's just not really a way through, because if you get down the inside for the first right-hander, where are you going to go for the left-hander? Well, round the outside is the answer, but the likely destination for you there is in the grass, and maybe even the gravel as well, so he's not willing to risk that this early on in the race. 15 minutes gone. It looks like he's got a pretty decent exit off that corner. And the Joachim Rindt complex has been very kind to Udegaard there. Big defence there from Leon Toki. Good to see. Squeezes Udegaard onto the grass and off the road for the 188 Lexus. Deary me. And now he's going to drop down the order. Dan Kell's going to look to capitalise on this, but he's got Miles Dixon right in behind him now into turn number 1. Nothing doing. 8th position. This battle continues on, but Dan Kell is up into 9th and Miles Dixon in 10th position now. A little bit rude there from Toki, just a bit of a squeeze, and as you can see, Udegaard just cleaning his tyres really. Loses a bit of ground now. He is in 11th position, just ahead of Sean Bennett, who's had a fantastic start here. A really brilliant start, you have to say. He was way down the order. Couldn't tell you exactly where, but really far down. So he's done a fantastic job to get up that far. But speaking of far up the order, Henningsen versus Amato continues on. The battle rages on. It has done throughout this race so far as we begin to complete lap 11, getting into the double figures now. We're going to be upwards of 75 laps in this race, I do believe. Maybe even 80. We'll see what kind of a pace these guys really put down in this race, and that will really determine it. But Toki really still under this pressure, and that little battle there with him and Lasse Udegaard has really kind of brought Sean Bennett into this, and you can see just in the background of that shot that the McLaren there is really closing in on these guys, and he's basically there, and he is. John Monroe's going to be there soon as well, and the 24 Bentley. Lots of Bentleys and Lexuses floating around again today, but no Aston Martins. There is one, Steven Sarsgaard has got one down the order, but other than him, no Aston Martins in this race. Let's go see if that, how many cars have still got left. Yeah, probably is still running. He's soldiering on so far, looking to get something from this race, but it's doubtful He may get some battles with some guys lower down the order, but I think that's all he's going to get from this race, I'm afraid. But Atoki really doesn't seem very strong out of that first chicane. And now coming down to the second one, really under pressure from Dan Kell, who could possibly run a train through him right now. Oh, look at the lines there from Atoki, not ideal. And Dan Kell all over him. He really is. And now he's got a great run out of that double right-hander. The sweepers, excuse me. And down the inside he goes. Can he do it on the brakes? He can't indeed. And Miles Dixon now looks to make the moves. Can he get anywhere near his fellow Bentley? Well, he's going to stick a nose in there, and he is going to go down the inside, is he? He does. Be careful not to hit Atoki. He dives it in very deep, but that's a fantastic move from Miles Dixon, who is up now into 9th position ahead of Dan Kell, who might try and come back at him here. Down into turn number 1, but he can't quite do it for now. Great move there from Miles Dixon, and into 9th position he goes. Lasse Ugard now under pressure from Sean Bennett as well. The McLaren looking very good. Both in aesthetically and in terms of this race, as they all continue this battle for 8th position. An absolutely absorbing battle, you have to say. Really fantastic, but Henningsen and Amato, just to update you, just gone out just a little bit, but I don't think that Henningsen will be pushing full gas just yet, because we saw last week that he was not doing so. And here we go, Miles Dixon looks to try to make the move, uses Leon Atoki's disadvantage out of that chicane. Oh, he's nearly round, big slide into that chicane, and now we'll see if Atoki can get back at him. No, he can't, but Miles Dixon trading paint there, but he's also trading positions with Atoki. Big slide for Dan Kell as well. Goodness me, what a battle this is. Leon Atoki continues to fall down the order, I'm afraid. 9th position for him now. We'll see if he can even come back at Miles Dixon. As he goes down into the final chicane. He's trying to stick his nose out and try and really force him into a mistake, but that's not going to happen. Doesn't look like the Porsche really has the pace compared to when it didn't qualify, but look at the traction. He's got off the final chicane there. And now he pulls to the outside into turn number 1, which is probably one of the weaker corners for that Porsche. Looks like he's just going to hold back for now and get the undercut. Looks like Dan Kell's off in the background, by the way. He just went shooting off out of shot. But Leon Atoki tried to go around the outside at turn number 2. Now that would be spectacular, but he can't quite do it. Or can he? Turn number 3 now, the flat out right-hander. Oh my goodness me, this would be fantastic if he can do it, but he can't quite. Let's go back to see what Dan Kell's up to, because he has had a bit of an issue there. And now he's trying to get back past Sean Bennett, who's got through. Dan Kell down to 12. Oh, big accident on the back straight. Oh no, Sean Bennett out of the, well, not out of the race, but he certainly got damage there. Not entirely sure how that happened, but Sean Bennett are out and around. He's going to have to be so careful. Oh, don't reverse in front of the field, for God's sake. Oh my goodness me, that was very close between him and Philip Matzik. Don't pull out in front of these guys. Ah, very careful, that was a strange noise. But, oh, wow. That's all you can say, really. It's fallen apart for Sean Bennett after such a great start. It really has fallen apart for him. But, not falling apart is Alexander Vromont doing a fantastic recovery drive at the moment. He's now battling for 12th position with Dan Kell. What a chaotic race this has been so far. Just there's so many pinch points on this circuit that can really be exploited, and these guys just exploring everywhere in this on this circuit right now. You have to say, Vromont sticks to the inside now. Dan Kell tries to jog him towards the left-hand side, but comfortably down the inside there for Vromont. And you'd be expecting him to pull away from here. John Monroe's managed to get his way into the battle here. 11th position for him now. It looks like Amato has had a bit of a mistake, or has he? No, he hasn't. Oh no. Oh, Henningsen off the road. Henningsen is off the road here, and I'm not sure where that's happened, but Casper Henningsen down to 2nd position, and now he's got Ralph Piringer, Daniele Primavera, who's been overtaken by Piringer. Mike Epps is here as well. Goodness me, what a race so far. It's absolutely gripping. Gianluca Amato now leads the race. Apologies for missing that one. Just like that can't be him in the McLaren. Oh, it's Sean Bennett trying to return to the pit lane, but he's all over the place because he's damaged. And, well, his rejoin so far in this race hasn't been spectacular, but his crashes have been, unfortunately. I'm sure that will be looked at. It looks like Pierluca Amato has now got a 5-second lead over Casper Henningsen, who's trying to hold back Ralph Piringer, and Daniele Primavera, who was in fourth position, but third, sorry, but he's been overtaken by Piringer and doesn't really look to have the pace. Neither does Mike Epps, but Henningsen and Piringer look pretty evenly matched. So we may well see a good battle between them. Well, what a race this has been so far. Truly exhilarating. It really has been. Incident and accident, and also some very good battling indeed as well. Leon Otoki has contributed to that massively, I do believe. Even if his defending has been aggressive at parts, in certain moments, it has been. It's really promoted some fantastic racing. As Henningsen, after that mistake, just looks to be pulling away slightly from Piringer. He's now got Daniele it's Daniele Primavera who's on the back of him, and Daniele Brambilla has made up a position. I wonder if Miko Seaguard looks to be retired from this race as well. Oh no, he isn't. He's in the pit lane, excuse me. So Seaguard in the Lamborghini is the sole Lamborghini is in the pit lane, and so is Sean Bennett now as well, who's repairing damage. So Brambilla is no longer last. Which is good for him. Hang on a minute. Oh, I thought Amato was dropping down the order there, but he's all okay. Well, the Musto fans can calm down for just a moment. Goodness me, this has been absolutely fantastic so far. As Michi Hoyer is now just pulling away, or trying to get on to these guys with Epps, Primavera, Piringer, Henningsen. He's all trying to get there, but he can't just yet. Let's go back to Leon Otoki. If you ever want entertainment, let's go back to him. And here he is. He's got Lasse Ugard in behind. Miles Dixon is through, don't forget. But Ugard is now under pressure from John Munro, who doesn't really know what catastrophes have befallen him at this moment. But he's going to be taking them with no questions asked. He's in 11th position at the moment, I do believe. It says so on the left-hand side, as you can see. The Porsche really doesn't look very strong through that chicane, and you can see Ugard now really trying to use it. Is he going to go down the inside? Leon Otoki half defends, but Ugard hasn't decided to go for it anyway. John Munro has got the grandstand seat here. We'll see if Ugard's going to make a heroic dive down the inside. Oh, very late on the brake from Munro, and nearly clattered into the back of Ugard there. That would have been extremely squeaky, but it hasn't been. And they're all okay. So Otoki continues to back up this train. Porsches really in race pace really don't seem to be too great. We saw it with the Musto Porsche last week. And yeah, they've been absolutely nowhere again, have Porsche in the race, despite being pretty decent in qualifying. Absolutely nowhere so far. Reading is coming under a bit of pressure here, by the way. Henningsen just skipping up the road a little bit, but Piringer not really getting away from Primavera or Mike Epps. The big cars seem to be dealing with the curbs a little bit better, actually. The likes of the Bentley and the Lexus, whereas you saw on the Primavera's McLaren getting a very big hop over that first chicane. But yeah, he's not been passed. Piringer now continuing to back up this group. Alexander Biazizzo is now on his own, really. He's looks like there's something happened to Michi Hoyer there. As just my timing glitching out. It's the timing just a little bit. But yeah, Biazizzo has got 3 seconds behind him, or even more, and 7 seconds in front of him. So he's out there running around on his own at the moment. But that gap between Henningsen and Mato is starting to come down. You can see Henningsen with some very fast lap times at the moment. Set a 29.0 on that last lap, and so did Amato. So like for like on the last lap, but the general trend is downwards in terms of that gap. which is encouraging in terms of a race battle. It's actually approaching 6, so maybe I'm a little bit wrong with that, but it's kind of hard to monitor it when there's about 1 million battles going on around this circuit right now. We'll go back to the Atoki battle, and by the way, he hasn't been overtaken yet, just in case you're wondering. Look at this. This is extremely close right now. John Munro beginning to apply some pressure to that Lexus in front of him. We'll see if he can take it. Atoki just misses his apex there, and here we go into the chicane. This could get messy. We've seen accidents with the likes of Sean Bennett in the past. Oh, it's a bit of a dive, or a bit of a nose out there for Munro. And oh, he just skips across the chicane there. Look how slow Atoki is out the chicane. And now here we go. Can Ugod get to the outside? He does do. Will Atoki push him out there though? There's contact between them. John Munro is going to be watching. Oh, they're both across the road. Atoki continues to battle it. And then finally, Ugod is through. Munro tries to follow him, but he can't quite. They've both been off the road there. That will definitely be investigated, as Atoki could allow another one through. The conveyor belt is going now, and it's really hard to stop it. Unfortunately, hasn't been able to. Atoki really close to the back of John Munro now for 10th position, the last points paying position in this race. And look who's in the background. Alexander Vromont on his recovery drive. He's really trying here, and he can't quite get through. We'll see if he can get through on Atoki as well. He's managed to pass Mantis Rekus away from the cameras. That's the championship leader. Here goes Vromont. Is he going to make it 3 wide down into turn number 1? This would be brave, but he hasn't gone for it. He's going to let these two play it out, and so be it. Here we go. John Munro holds on for now. Here we go with Vromont. Can't quite get through, and here he goes up the inside of Atoki into turn number 3. He can't quite do it there. What a battle this is. Leon Atoki has been passed left, right and centre so far in this race, and through goes Vromont. So through he goes, just as I looked away for a moment. Vromont is through into 10th position now, sorry, 11th position, and Leon Atoki is down the order. He could be even further down here if he's not careful. Mantis Rekus is looking pretty good. Nothing doing for him so far though. Can't get through. Well, what a first half an hour it has been. This has been absolutely fantastic racing. We've got Pierluca Amato currently leading the charge from Casper Henningsen, Ralph Piringer, Daniele Primavera and Mike Epps down in 5th position. We have just completed lap number 20, and we will be back with the next 90 minutes of this race after this short break. Don't go anywhere.
Simplexity is a Danish designer and manufacturer of high-grade sim racing platforms. There are 3 different levels of platforms come in a variety of colors and configurations. Choose from the V4, built from 40x40mm extruded aluminium profiles, the V8 built from 80x40mm profiles, and the high-tier V12 built from 160x40mm extruded aluminium profiles. Prices range from 470 to 750 euros. Go to facebook.com/simplexity.eu and start a messenger chat to inquire more about the options for colors and customization.
Communication. It started out as a conversation between two people, but as time went by and people's needs became greater, they developed more ways to communicate. Businesses today need to minimize incomplete connections. Therefore, it is critical that they provide optimal service. Xilinx desktop, mobile and web applications can process everything from normal calls and callbacks to chats, emails, and social media inquiries. Let Xilinx liberate your business.
Welcome back to the GTR24 Sprint Series here from Zolder, and we join you again with big news. Pierluca Amato has got a drive-through penalty. Can't quite inform you as to what that is for yet. I'm trying to find that one out, but as soon as I know, I will get that information to you. But he is leading at the moment. Casper Henningsen is in second, but that's soon to be the lead, don't forget. So, yeah, we'll see how that plays out. Alexander Biazizo is in to serve his drive-through. So it's all happening at the moment. There's all sorts of chaos going on, and Amato's drive-through is indeed for an incident with car number 94 on lap 15. So I'm presuming that's how Henningsen spun out of the lead. I've been informed that you saw that at home, but I didn't see that because I don't see what you're seeing all of the time anyway. They're watching along at home, so apologies for not talking about it when it was on the screen, but there you go. You've seen it, you've seen what happened, but and it probably made me look like a bit of an idiot when I didn't know what was happening. But in the background there, Mike Epps coming under a bit of pressure from Mitchy Hoyt, who actually had his nose in front as they came across the line, and Mike Epps just looks like he gave that one to him. P5 now for Hoyt in the Burst Esport car, but he's run wide now, and he's costing them both time, really, defending into second place. The second corner, so to say. But yeah, Henningsen looks like he's really got the pace on everybody here. He's got, well, about 8 seconds to catch up to Amato, but he's slowly pulling away from Ralph Pringet in third position, and he's doing very well indeed. But back towards the lower reaches of the top 10 here, it is still all happening. Miles Dixon is not too far away from a battle with Lasse Ugard, John Munro, and Alexander Vromont. 4 big cars in a row here, and yeah, Bentley versus Lexus, 2 of each, and yeah, it's very interesting to see. Bounce across the curbs there from Munro, and here goes Romont. We'll see what he can do about this one. He looks like he's straight through there, straight through down into the chicane, and well, Munro, sorry, oh yeah, Munro didn't really fight that one, I'm afraid. So up into 8th position, excuse me, for and Ralph Pringet has dropped down again. I'm just wondering, has he disconnected, or what has happened to Ralph Pringet? Try to find him up and down the order, but I can't right now. Ralph Pringet is nowhere to be seen. Yeah, he is. He's in 3rd position, and I've just missed him completely. Well, he is on my screen, but he's not on everybody else's, so a little bit of a strange one, as you can see on your left-hand side. Pringet's not there, but he is. There were question marks, answers on the postcard, really. Looks like Amato has managed to get out in still 2nd place, has he? That would be a remarkable turn of events. He hasn't, actually. He's in 5th position. He's just ahead of Miles Dixon. He's just been dropped right into this, and this has become the battle for P5, it seems, with Dixon, Ugard, Vermont, Munro. Toki might be here soon as well, but he's a little bit further back. I'm trying to solve this mystery about Ralph Pringet, because, yeah, he's not there anymore. So I just wonder what has befallen Ralph Pringet. He's not on the left-hand side of his screen. I'm presuming that's going to be a disconnection for him, I'm afraid. Real disappointing for him, but yeah, the race continues. We have yeah, no information about him, I'm afraid. So we're going to presume that is a disconnection for him. Really disappointing, and a real shame to see. But from third position, he is not going to score any points, I'm afraid. And neither is his teammate Tim Yarshall, it seems. Oh, down the inside there. Looks like Vromont was actually making a move on Ugard. And they're running side by side now. Look in the background, John Munro looking to make this 3 wide into turn number 1. This could be messy if these guys are not careful. And, oh, dearie me, very close between the two of them. 2 Lexus battle. And now Vromont has got through. He pushes Ugard wide. And now look at John Munro on the outside now. Here he comes, round the outside in the Bentley. He's got one of them, or has he? Contact between them in turn number 3. It's a sketchy corner to be going side by side, and they're going to do it again in turn number 4. Here we go. Well, it looks like Munro's got it, or has he? Contact on the exit, and Ugard muscles his way back through there. But the important thing in terms of the championship, Vromont has got back through now. He's into 7th position, and after an early drive-through, he's been stuck in traffic for a lot of the day. But he's now up into 7th position. Pierluca Amato down to 5th after his drive-through. Vromont down to 7th, with Henningsen now leading to the tune of about 4 seconds and a half. Daniele Primavera, who really doesn't have the pace of him, I'm afraid. This is kind of the leading battle in terms of the battle that's most furthest forward, if you see what I'm trying to say. It's for 7th position in Vromont, Ugard and Munro. We've had 40 minutes of fantastic battling so far, and always something to talk about right now. These guys just come across the line in that battle. Nothing doing for them so far. We'll see what Vromont can really do about Miles Dixon though, because he's been struggling a little bit so far. We're not struggling, but doesn't seem to have quite the pace of Vromont. Meanwhile, in the background, I believe, Philip Matzik's under a bit of pressure here from the recovering Alexander Biazizo. No, he's not actually. That's a lap car in behind him. That's Daniele Brambilla in behind. Brambilla's up to 20th, by the way, as you can see on the left-hand side. He's just improving his position in this race, trying to get past this Butler Powell McLaren, but he can't quite do it just yet. Ugard and Munro may well continue on their little battle, but yeah, if you just go to Leon Otoki, there is never a battle too far away. This is in the Porsche right now. Oh, he's gone wide again there through that corner. The sweepers really doesn't look very comfortable. And Mantis Records is going to look to take advantage of him. Got another car. They've got the Lexus in behind of Brian Jensen. He's a little bit further back. That's a McLaren out of position in the background. I believe that's Sean Bennett in the 112 who's trying to recover in this race. Just looking down the order to see Bennett is all out there, and he is in the vicinity of these guys, so we're going to presume it is, as they've now battled side by side. Otoki defends, as he has been throughout the most part of this race so far. Mantis Records recovering after an issue that involved Leon Otoki, of course. Excuse me. Oh no, that wasn't quite the one. He was involved in the battle that Otoki was at the head of, but he wasn't a direct consequence. As Michi Hoyer now with a drive-through penalty. Mike Epps is in the pit lane. He's had an issue somewhere, so now he drops down the order from 4th position. Way down now. Not entirely sure what's happened to him, but Michi Hoyer is also going to drop down the order here. All sorts of chaos going on. But, yeah, as I said, just look to Leon Otoki and you will find a battle somewhere. Gonna look to see what's happened here. Michi Hoyer got a cut track drive-through, so there you go. He's in to serve that now, and we'll see where he comes out. Where's Mike Epps after his pit lane? Oh, he's still in the pit lane. Has he got damaged somewhere, I wonder? Quite possibly. As Mantis Records continues to try and work on Leon Otoki. But Otoki's going to get the advantage of a bit of a draft there from one of the Lexus cars, a bit further down the order. Be Matthias Blom, but maybe not at the same time. Possibly. So they're going to have to negotiate him at the moment. Blom is down in 17th at the moment. He's going to pass Mike Epps though and get up into 16th in a short while. If Mike Epps is not already out the pit lane. I forget who their second driver is though, so he could have swapped. And he may well be out, the car may be out the pit lane before me realising. Oh, Toki defends to the first chicane now. And this is, God, the Audi straight line of speed there. Toki brakes late on the brakes though. Now, here we go. Defends again. All the way down to the grass there. Oh, contact! Toki very nearly spun round there. And now it looks like Jensen's going to try and bind to this one. Goodness me. This has been fantastic entertainment provided by Toki on the most part, as that Lexus goes wide into the wall. Oh no, Toki's been caught up in somebody else's accident. Matthias Blom crashes in front of Leon Toki, and now Toki's dropping down the order. He's dropped down past Jensen. Oh my goodness me. Philip Matzik is also involved. Well, he's going to be involved if he's not careful. Oh dear, oh dear. Oh, he is involved. And Matzik's around as well. Toki involved with Philip Matzik. And now we're going to have to be careful that that Bentley in the background doesn't get caught up in this. Toki into the pit lane. Goodness. Well, it's been a strange race in many ways, as Michi Hoyer's in to serve his drive-through. Or is he? Not good signs for Michi Hoyer, who's actually disconnected now, I do believe. Pierluca Amato is into third, but it looks like Michi Hoyer is also disconnected. What a crazy race. This really has been a fantastic but crazy race. Matthias Blom just crashing in front of Leon Toki there as he saw. And that put an end sharply to that battle. Although Reckert and Jensen may well still be battling. I've no idea how these two didn't get caught up in that accident. That's not actually Jensen behind in the McLaren, is it? It's Sean Bennett. So yeah, either way, I'm not sure how they managed to avoid that accident. Both Blom and Toki are into the pit lane. Still in the lead, it's Casper Henningsen leading the way from Daniele Primavera, who's going to be under pressure from Pierluca Amato towards the end of this race, I do believe. The gap between them is 15 seconds, though. They're not expecting an immediate battle between those guys. Vromont is currently up into 4th position. He's done a fantastic drive to get up to there. Miles Dixon along for the ride, and it looks like Ugard and Munro going at it again. A bit wide for Munro on that occasion. Oh, sorry, Ugard on that occasion. No, it was Munro. I was right the first time, but Munro's just got through there. That's the reverse of positions. 6th position for Munro then. 7th for Ugard in the Lexus. And as I said, 2 pairs of Lexus Bentley battling at the moment as we continue on with this race. Coming into this chicane at the bottom of the course now, leading into the 2 sweepers. All called turn 7, as I mentioned earlier on, for some unknown reason. Yeah, this looks like where the battles are really going to come from. Vromont's done well to recover here, but don't forget his main championship rival is up the road gaining points. Casper Henningsen is currently in 2nd in the championship, currently in 1st in the race, and they would take the championship lead by just 3 points if it were to stay like this. But I can guarantee you, as you've seen so far, I can guarantee you it's not going to stay like this. As an early stop for Munro. 1 hour 13 on a tank of fuel. That is early. Is he going to make it? Well, you've got to presume so. If he's been making a pit stop so early that he is going to make it. We'll wait and see. Like maybe looking for some battles down the order. Looks like Mike Epps is also disconnected. We've seen a lot of disconnections in this race actually. Leon Toki. That's not Leon Toki at all. It's Marko Pisic who's got into that car now after the damage that they sustained. Currently in behind Daniele Brambilla, I think that is. And it is indeed. It's one of the McLarens anyway. Just see which of those it is. I don't think it is Brambilla actually. Dan Kells made an early pit stop earlier on in this race, as you well know. Blom still in the pit lane, so it's like we've got 20 of these guys still running, because we've had Chris Vickers, Tim Yarshall and Mikkel Seaguard out of the race due to damage, we can only presume. And then we've got Michi Hoyer, Ralph Piringer and Mike Epps all out with disconnection problems. So it's been a pretty been a disaster for those guys, you have to say. Yeah, chaotic early part of this race. Michael Bernberg is in the only Aston Martin in this race, currently in 11th position, purely because he stayed out of trouble so far in this race, and he's managed to get his way into 11th position, which is fantastic from him. Knocking on the door of points, of course. Casper Henningsen currently leading this race, and yeah, just seeing if Primavera can actually get near to him or overtake him. Not quite at this stage in the race. Getting on board with him at the moment. In the driver's eye here into the cockpit. This really is a revolutionary camera angle. Riser cam, I guess you could call it. This is into the final chicane at the moment, under the bridge. Got a car in front of him as well, just to contend with, but that will be a lap car, of course. So he is in the lead of the race, as you can see. Towards the bottom right hand side of his screen, there's Eastport leading, and that is very good for them indeed. We've seen the first driver swap of this race with Marko Pisic out there, and he's taken over from Leon Toki, of course. So they're down in 17th now. Looking to see someone else's changed driver here. There, one of them would have. Dan Kell's still in there. Ross McGregor, that's it. Ross McGregor's into that Bentley, sorry. Into that Bentley now. So, yeah, that's a driver swap we've away from our cameras for Simply Race. Was partnered with Zancho these days. Thirteenth position for them at the moment as they're trying to chase down Thomas Breingard. That gap is currently way over 20 seconds, so that's not going to be one to watch just for now. But the closest one could be between Dixon and Newgard here. The 5th position now. These guys were battling quite a lot closer, and for a bit more of a lowly position, it was towards the lower parts of the top 10 when Leon Toki was involved, so they've dropped down quite a fair way. Toki has dropped down quite a fair way, and it's now Pisic, of course, but these guys have really been in the ascendancy recently. So, yeah, this is going to be an interesting race from here on in. Yeah, as I said, that will probably be the closest battle. So Alexander Biazizo is into the pit lane now, so the pit stops have really begun. Ross McGregor and Steven Salsgaard is kind of close, but not particularly. Surprised that Dan Kelt's not involved in more battles, but he isn't. He's a fair way down on Marko Pisic there in 17th, that battle. But yeah, as I said, this battle looks to be the closest. Dixon versus Ugard. But Ugard not particularly applying any pressure at the moment. You just about see him in the, well, you can clearly see him in the distance there for Lexus, but Dixon not really under any kind of pressure, which is the main thing here. And yeah, all a bit wide there for Ugard, big mistake, and that's going to drop him away. Yeah, 6th position, and he's dropped away now considerably in the portion of this race. Or in those couple of corners, indeed, he's just kind of falling away. But yeah, we'll see. We will see Brambilla. Sorry, not Brambilla. It's not a. Of course, it's. Let me just look up what nationality is, but it's Brambilla, not Brambilla. Yeah. Well, thanks for correcting me on that one, Nick Newcomb, who's been not in my ear, but who's been correcting me on pronunciations. He is Italian, not Spanish. Of course, I was kind of taking the Spanish pronunciation of that, the two L's meaning a kind of a Y sound to make Brambilla, but it's not really. It's a Brambilla. Right? Yeah, okay, got it. So hopefully I can get that name right from now on. And apologies for those who've mentioned it in the chat before. I've noticed while he's been in other races that people have been mentioning it, and I've been ignoring them. But you were right in the end, and I was wrong, so there you go. Yeah, Brambilla is in the 16th position at the moment. Just trying to overtake not trying to overtake. He is about 8 seconds behind Richard Schaefer in the 557. That's the 15th position at the moment. He is in an Audi at the moment, being hounded a little bit. I'm sure this is not for position, but it could be a bit important. That's the 037 car. You can see who that is exactly. Actually, someone coming up to lap him, Mantis Wreckers, who's really been doing well recently. 7th position for him at the moment. And as I said, really trying to look to get through, as I thought Schaefer was going to get into the pit lane there, but he's clearly not, because he's had his driver flop already. Going to look to see who used to be in that car. It was Alexander Biazizo who was in that car, and now it's Richard Schaefer who's down in 15th. Philip Matzik just comes out the pit lane then. We'll see where he drops into, if he gets into any battles, that is, and see if he actually changes driver here. You've got to presume he will. Mandatory is Johannes Weiss is into that car. So that's the other Butler Powell car, of course, and he's down behind Brambilla now in 16th. Or is he? I think that's the McLaren of Brambilla up in front, but of course Brambilla has made his pit stop already. That is not really surprising. There's that other McLaren there, not quite sure which one that is, just pulls over. But there you go, probably Sean Bain actually, thinking about it. Then Casper Henningsen still leaves this race, the GTR24 Sprint Series round here at Zolder, returning to Belgium after a round at Spa in round 1, and a British excursion 2 weeks ago at Brands Hatch. But these two actually not too far apart geographically, because Brands Hatch is in the south of the UK, and Belgium is not too far from the south of the UK. But obviously that doesn't matter. Henningsen continues to lead, Primavera second, and Pierluca Amato, after his drive-through, is in 3rd position. And yeah, so the first of those two have made a drive-through and still be where they are, or the furthest forward of those who've taken a drive-through, should I say, is Pierluca Amato in 3rd position, excuse me. Alexander Vromont in 4th. He took a drive-through earlier on, as did I can't remember his name now, Michi Hoyer, who's handed over to Richard Schaefer. So they're down in 14th, and that was severe for them because they've taken their pit stop, but that will all shake itself out, don't worry about that. Approaching the hour here, 3 minutes to go until we hit halfway in this race. Lexus lead from McLaren, and the closest battle is still Dixon and Ugard battling over 5th position. The 188 trying to apply the pressure, and it's getting pretty close here. And off the road there for one of the McLarens, but he's into the pit lane, so it's all okay. And the sole Aston Martins, that's Steven Salsgaard, is just up in front of Dixon here. Ugard just in the background here, and he's going to be hoping that Dixon is slowed up by that Aston, and he's going to be compromised a little bit in his run through turn number 1, but nothing really doing there. Ugard is going to have closed up just a little bit, as you can see in your camera shots right now. But indeed, we are just approaching the hour of this race. 2 minutes to go until we get it. The pit stops are approaching, and they will be upon us very shortly. They may well happen during the ad break, so we're going to get one out of the way now. We've had an enthralling first hour of this race. We're going to have an enthralling second hour, I am sure. Don't go anywhere. It's the GTR24 Sprint Series here from Zolder. Another hour coming up after this break.
Communication. It started out as a conversation between two people, but as time went by and people's needs became greater, they developed more ways to communicate. Businesses today need to minimize incomplete connections. Therefore, it is critical that they provide optimal service. Xilinx desktop, mobile and web applications can process everything from normal calls and callbacks to chats, emails, and social media inquiries. Let Xilinx liberate your business.
Simplexity is a Danish designer and manufacturer of high-grade sim racing platforms. There are 3 different levels of platforms come in a variety of colors and configurations. Choose from the V4, built from 40 by 40 mm extruded aluminium profiles, the V8 built from 80 by 40 mm profiles, and the high-tier V12 built from 160 by 40 mm extruded aluminium profiles. Prices range from 470 to 750 euros. Go to facebook.com/simplexity.eu and start a messenger chat to inquire more about the options for colors and customization.
Welcome back to the GTR24 Sprint Series here from Zolder. We have got pit stops upon us now. Daniele Primavera and Pierluca Amato are both into the pit lane now. But yeah, as I said, we've had an enthralling first hour. It has to be said. Casper Henningsen still leads here, and it's not just me anymore. It is still me, Ewan O'Leary, commentating at the moment, but I'm welcoming in Yusuf here. First time I believe that you commentated on GTR24 event, and I'd have to say, if you'd have seen the first hour, you would have been absolutely mouth wide open, because it was a spectacular first hour. But yeah, I'll just talk about this circuit to start with, because not really talked about it enough so far. It's kind of it looks a simple circuit in its layout, but the kind of the curves and all sorts of funny things and funny quirks that you get around Zolder kind of make it quite a difficult circuit to manage and to drive around.
Yeah, it does, Ewan, and thank you for introducing me onto the stream. It's a pleasure to be here for my first GTR 24-hour race, and I'm looking and excited to see whether the final 40 or the final hour of the race can be as exciting as you mentioned the first hour is. But speaking a little bit about this track, it's kind of got a lot very fast in that first sector. You know, you've got those triple right-handers that you just have to try to carry as much momentum through without losing that back end, without running that little bit too wide, and then you make your way into sector 2 where it gets a little bit tighter, a little bit more technical, and it's all about just maximizing that throttle output on the exit of the corners, finding that traction where it's so difficult to do so here at Circuit Zolder in Belgium.
Yeah, indeed. So that has provided us with some fantastic racing indeed. We've got driver changes and pit stops going on right now. We've seen Daniele Primavera into the pit lane. He's swapped out for Manuel Biancalula in 4th position at the moment, and Tiziano Brioni has taken over from Pierluca Amato. Now they're in 5th position, trying to chase down that number 98 just in front of them. They're separated by some traffic as well at the moment, as Lasse Udegaard is into the pit lane now in the 188 Lexus. Simon Crane has got into the 52. Matt Beavis is into the Rookie Monsters 37, and as I mentioned, the Butler Park cars have been in earlier. They're actually running in formation at the moment, I do believe, with 557. No, they're not indeed, but they're kind of near to each other. See what I'm saying? As Beavis is currently running from Schaefer. Schaefer just getting down the inside of a McLaren on that occasion, but Ugaard into the pit lane at the moment. Biancalula into 4th, but yeah, these cars are running a bit longer than I was expecting, to be honest, because yeah, they're going at least an hour and 5, and we've seen pit stops as early as an hour and 15, and personally I'm a little bit surprised to see these cars attempting to go something like 75 minutes on a tank of fuel.
It is definitely a long way to go, but as the fuel starts to burn off, you want to eke out as many laps as possible. Just try to get as many quick laps as you can when your car is as light as possible, and that's certainly what some of these guys at the front are going to be doing. Chris Hemmingson leading the way from Romant, and Bianca Lila in 3rd, charging forward in the first of the McLarens.
Yeah, he is indeed, as Vermont just comes into the pit lane. Championship leader now pits on lap 43, that will be, and yeah, we're going to be in the 80s, coming towards the 90s in terms of the lap count in this race, it seems, as Biancalula will see if he can actually get back ahead of Vermont. I believe he was there before. He was indeed, and so was Tiziano Brioni, who's had to serve a drive-through, don't forget, earlier on in this race, or his teammate did at least. Amato was the culprit at turn 2, I believe that was. Oh no, sorry, that was Vermont's drive-through. I've forgotten what Amato's was for. Oh yeah, it was for taking out Henningsen earlier on. So ignore me. But oh, off the road there for a Lexus, just getting out of the way. But yeah, we'll see where Vermont comes out really, or his teammate Haniel Sabti, should I say? Because that is going to be who is going to be driving this car now. We'll see if Ross McGregor can get anywhere near him, but. Not expecting that to be the case, as Ross McGregor is just coming over the line now. So Haniel Sabti comfortably into 5th position, and yeah, it looks like, oh, Lasse Udegaard, it looks like we've had a disconnection for Lasse Udegaard, and that is a real shame, because he was running very well indeed, up in 3rd position during those pit stop cycles, and yeah, that is the danger really with this with ACC and these driver swaps at the moment. We didn't see it so much last week, but we saw a lot at Spa, and these disconnections can really hamper your race, and you're seeing it with Ugaard right now.
Yeah, well, hopefully Ugaard can rejoin as quickly as possible. He's in the pits right now, but he is effectively in 4th place, so maybe he can get away with the driver change as well at this point and make it to the end of the race. 53 minutes remaining here at Circuit Zolder.
Yeah, indeed. We're just trying to find out who would take over from Ugaard if he can actually get into that car, because it would be Chris Johansson in that 188 car, the old Danish team. So yeah, we'll see if he can actually rejoin. But it looks like we're down to 17, I'm afraid. We've got Marco Pizic, who's also out the race now, down the order. That was Leon Otoki driving earlier on. And it also looks like Thomas Breingard is out of the race as well. So yeah, we've seen a lot of disconnections and the like. Starting with 26 or 25, 26 cars, we're down to 17 now, which is quite a big attrition rate. But we've seen a lot of contact in the early going. Zolder's seemingly provided quite a lot of contact, and well, it's provided a lot of battles, and with the battles you do see contact. So it's hardly surprising that we've seen quite so many incidents, but yeah, it's just a shame that we've seen so many guys out of the race, but that doesn't mean the last part of the last 50 minutes or so are going to be any less exciting, because you've got battles going on all over the circuit, including this one for 5th between McGregor and Simon Crane.
And I'm just taking a look at their last lap. Simon McCrane almost a second quicker than the number 24 of Ross McGregor. And if he can keep this pace up, you have to think it's going to be a matter of when, not if, between these two for 5th.
Yeah, we'll see. It's an old Bentley battle, so there's going to be no strengths and weaknesses in terms of the cars here, which is going to be purely driver and setup, but a little bit wide there for Crane, and he's just lost a little bit more time. Although he's been faster, when you get up to a car, it does kind of change things, really. When you've got that car in front of you, it really does change your driving style, and you are unsighted sometimes, especially behind a bigger car like the Bentley.
Yeah.
You can be a little bit unsighted, so it can get a little bit difficult. But yeah, following, as the famous cliche says, catching is one thing, passing is another, and you're seeing it right now.
Yeah, and I'm sure we all remember iconic moments like Mansell and Senna at Monaco. You can catch it. It doesn't matter how fast you're quicking, but how fast you're catching. But if the car in front defends at his max, it's going to be so tricky. And that circuit, like Zolder, is just that little bit trickier as well. Trying to find a drive out of some of these fast corners, like turns 2, 3 and 4, maybe have a look into the climb chicane. It's going to be tricky. You know, there isn't a big overtaking spot here at Zolder.
There's not an obvious one, no. That's why so far in this race we've seen moves being made every which way and everywhere, really. So it's been kind of chaotic to keep up with. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where Crane does make this move. Just seeing them come into the triple chicane, I've been calling it, don't really know why, but it leads into a couple of sweepers now at 2 right-handers, where we've seen a big accident earlier on that took out Leo Rosocki earlier on, and unfortunately Marko Pisic has retired that car. They were running down in last position, and so they've decided that enough is enough, and they don't want to be in this race anymore. But another battle is going on, actually. We've got this one from 5th. We've also got Richard Schaefer and Per Pettersson battling at the moment. This is for 9th position, and it looks like that Schaefer is actually alongside and on the inside of Pettersson now, and he's made that move into the Klein chicane and turn number 5, and that's going to be 9th position for him. A good pass, and he's using the Audi strength there into the chicane, and the Lexus really didn't have an answer for him.
Great stuff coming in from Schaefer. Textbook passer goes right down the inside. As actually, he cuts that chicane just a tiny bit, but I think he gets away with it. And here we go in a replay. Schaefer down the inside, just a little bit later on the brakes, and there's absolutely nothing that Pettersson can do about it.
Indeed, he can't, as Casper Pedersen is into the lead. He's already in the lead, but he's into the pit lane as well. Now, from the lead, he's going to be handing over to Jesper Pedersen in that 94 Burst eSport car. We'll see what he can do. We've seen just last weekend, if you were with us, for the 24 hours of Nürburgring, Pedersen was really good, and possibly class of the field, possibly driver of the race maybe as well, although he did pick up 2 drive-throughs early on. He can be forgiven for that one, and he did a fantastic drive after. In the last 22 hours he was absolutely formidable, yeah, congratulations to him on that one, and congratulations to that team actually, Burst eSport. Absolutely fantastic win for them last weekend in the 24 Hours of Nürburgring, and if you were with us then you should have been, because it was a fantastic event indeed, and you can even go and rewatch it on YouTube at least. So that is definitely worth watching back. But Pedersen rejoins now. He's into the lead of the race, and he's got a pretty huge margin. You're going to have to wait to the line to get an actual gap on that one, because the time gaps are a little bit all over the place right now, but it seems to be in the region of 10 seconds, and that's going to be a big gap for Bianca Lula to close in the last 45 minutes.
Yeah, but Biancalila, very quick driver. Maybe he can do it. Last 50 minutes of a race, you never know what can happen. But Pedersen is on those fresher tyres. They're taking over from Henningsen, who has done a fantastic drive in those first 1 hour and 12 minutes or so, and now Pedersen just has to nurse the car home to the end. Or I say nurse, the car is of course perfectly fine, and it should be a decent run for Pedersen, but let's see if Biancalila can pile on the pressure.
Yeah, we'll see if he can indeed do that as McGregor and Crane continue to battle. I'm just looking down the order to see if Pedersen can actually get back through on Schaefer, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. Richard Schaefer, a very formidable force in that Butler Pal Audi, doing very well right now. Just looking for his teammate, Johannes Weiss, who's just up the road a little bit to the tune of 10 seconds. That's about for 8th position. But as I said, they're 10 seconds apart, so they're not going to be literally battling in the near future, that's for sure. But we'll see where these next battles are really going to come from. It looks like Crane versus McGregor is going to be the next one to really see where, or the next battle, should I say. We've got a bit of traffic up in front, as you can see. That's the Bentley of McGregor just in front, and the Crane Bentley up in behind as well. Lexus just letting him through there. Not entirely sure which one that is, because I can't quite see his number just yet, but it could be Alan Hansen, who had a bit of a disaster in the Brands Hatch, roughly 5 laps down at least around that circuit. So we're doing a little bit better on this occasion, but still not great for them. But traffic is going to be a big key here. I know Hansen has just pulled off there and let him through, but traffic is difficult to pass around here, and we could see a pass in the traffic here because, as I said, it's difficult to manage, and there's not many overtaking spots even for traffic.
Biancalila, if I'm not mistaken, is within 2 seconds of Pedersen, so he's getting really close up at the front here. Maybe we might have a battle on our hands for the lead a little bit earlier, as that's Ross McGregor just getting past some back markers. Now he's got a bit of clear air to really put the hammer down.
He has indeed. I'm just going to check. Oh, dearie me. It looks like Crane's been dived down the inside there by one of the Aston Martins. Well, the only Aston Martin, should I say?
I think there was contact.
Yeah, oh, there is. They're both around. Oh, dearie me. I'm going to see which of the Aston Martins that is. There's 2 in this race right now. Was it Lykegaard, or was it Brodesgaard? Not entirely sure, but we'll just actually wait and see. It was Brodesgaard, I'm afraid, and he's in 11th at the moment, but contact. Didn't quite see what happened there, but as we said, traffic is dangerous around here, and you've just seen it.
As you see, a certain someone just bouncing off the curbs rather beautifully. I think you got all 4 wheels airborne there. But 40 or so minutes remaining, and hopefully we can take a quick look at what did happen. And here it is. So that's McGregor getting it through, and now just right on the grass.
I wonder if he just was unsighted a little bit and just outbroke himself, because it was a bit of a strange one, really.
Very odd indeed. It was almost like one of the assets was just forced onto the grass, but it didn't look like he got pushed out, and then once on the grass he just had no traction to brake and just went straight on.
Well, that is a weird one, but Simon Crane is not going to be thanking him for that one. Let's put it that way, as he's now 10 seconds behind Ross McGregor, as these guys complete lap 50 and go on to lap 51. It looks like the gap at the front of the race is extending just a little bit. Pedersen versus Biancalila, now 8 seconds separate them. There were, big gap between them, but Brioni looks to be closing in on Biancalila to the tune of 7 tenths around that last lap. So Biancalila seems to be in the 30s, but Brioni in the mid 29s, and that is a formidable pace. We could see a battle for second going on, and when it's McLaren versus McLaren, when they're in the same machinery, these guys will have different setups, of course, but it's basically driver versus driver, and they are very exciting battles to watch indeed. But it just shows how fast Brioni is, really, because he's closing in on the same car as him in the form of Manuel Biancalila.
Yeah, and we should have a cracking battle for second. Jesper Pedersen seems to have found a way to really just get that power down and, as you mentioned, stretching out that lead slowly but surely. At the moment, it's looking like it's going to be a really good day for Burst Esport. Will be jumping ahead of AAA in the standings. They won last time out at Brands Hatch, and they're going to be looking to make it 2 in a row.
They are indeed. They played a strategical masterclass last week, in case you were with us, all of you watching at home. They sat behind a couple of Porsches, one of which was, I believe, Brioni, or the car that Brioni's driving right now, was a Porsche last week. But Henningsen at the time sat behind 2 Porsches for ages, didn't challenge them, didn't try and pass them, and then in the pit stops he took a little bit less fuel and got through incredibly quickly, and was never seen again really. I don't remember quite how many seconds he won last week by. It was nearly 12, so that's 4 times more than the gap at Spa. So a formidable win from Pedersen and Henningsen last week. They did very well indeed, it has to be said. So yeah, we'll see if they can repeat that today. It's looking good for them, it has to be said, and the championship gap would close to just 3 points in favour of the Burst Esport in the standings. So that would be very interesting indeed. It looks to be Burst versus AAA for now in the standings, but yeah, 3 points after 3 rounds, just separating these guys. It just shows how very close this championship has been so far.
Yeah, but don't forget about Musto GD, currently sitting at 3rd with Tiziano Brioni at the wheel of that number 71 car. That'd be some big points coming in for Musto, and maybe they'll be really closing into AAA for what will effectively become 2nd place in the championship, as you get a nice helicopter shot of Manuel Biancalila starting a brand new lap. 40 minutes remaining here at Zolder.
Yeah, it just seems that Brioni's just lost his edge a little bit in the last couple of laps. He lost 1.4 seconds on the last lap with a 30.9 after me commenting he was closing on that 98 in front. He's not really anymore. That gap is extending out, but yeah, Pedersen is now leading. And just to show you the class of this field right now, we've got Burst Esport leading from 2 Musto cars, then AAA Esports. Excuse me, it's AAA Esports in 4th position. They're the championship leaders, as we have previously mentioned. And then in 5th position, we've got Simply Race, another very fast and a very well-recognised team. So yeah, just a very high class of field here, and incredible lap times being pushed out by these guys. But just to show you how chaotic this race has been so far, Pedersen, or Henningsen at the time, that car has had a spin earlier on in that race, or earlier on in this race, and he is still leading. Literally everybody in this field right now has had one issue or another, and it has been an incredibly attritional race. But that's kind of what you expect, Zolder. It's quite... how can I say this? It really lends itself to attritional racing, and Pedersen has really come out on top here, despite having his spin earlier on in the race.
Yep. We move on over to Richard Schaefer in the Audi. We saw him pulling off a very nice move. If I'm not mistaken, it was onto Simon Crane. No, sorry, it was onto Pedersen, pardon me. That was the battle for what has become a 9th place, but he still has Pedersen not too far behind him. And Schaefer needs to just start to try to pull out a bit of a gap here.
Yeah, he's got just an 8-second gap to Johannes Weiss in front of him, but they are teammates at Butler Powell Motorsport, so I wouldn't be expecting a fierce battle between those two, but we may well see a battle of some sort. But they're both trying to chase down Matt Beavis in front of them. Don't think they're going to be able to manage, though. Weiss to Beavis is 20 seconds or just under, so yeah, big gap between those two. But one battle that is closing in at the moment seems to be Alessandro Ottaviani, who's in 11th at the moment. He's just passed Jan Brodsgaard, and I'm not sure what's happened to Brodsgaard particularly, but Ottaviani is in front of him now in that McLaren. And there he goes. Through he goes. I believe that was a mistake from Brodsgaard, and now he's got Carl Leikegaard just in behind him. There's 2 Aston Martins battling, and it's going to be another driver versus driver battle here. 777 versus 166. And now we're going to see if Leikegaard can really get some overspeed now down to the outside. into the chicane, but he can't quite do it there. He's going to bide his time for now.
Like I'd had a little thing, but he's just going to have to slot in behind. He's so close onto the back of a Broadscard, but as you mentioned, slots in behind as they make their way up the hill through the fast left-hander and down into the Talaman curves.
Yeah, some slightly strange and difficult corner names to pronounce, should we say. Throughout this, that's why I've been avoiding them throughout most of the first hour, because I just knew I was going to butcher them. As down the inside goes like a guard there, very late on the brakes. Has he gone too late though? No, he hasn't. Fantastic manoeuvre there, and Broadscard down a position. Well, that was so late on the brakes from Lycagard, but he managed to pull it up somehow.
Yeah, beautifully done by Lycagard to get the job done and up into 12th place as well.
Alessandro Ottaviani now has a drive-through penalty. Number 68 McLaren, not sure what that might be. It might be for cut tracks. Not entirely sure, because I haven't seen him involved in an incident so far during this race, but that doesn't mean it doesn't happen, you understand, but not looking good for him, I'm afraid. Yeah, so we'll see when he does come in to take that drive-through. He's going to come out probably around the region of Jimmy Wolf and Matt Webb, who are also battling. So it just goes to show that even during a quiet period in these races, there are still battles going on all over this circuit.
Yeah, battles all over the track, and let's not forget about that battle for second place. Brioni was closing in, and last time around he was able to find another 0.4 of a second onto Biancalila, so the battle not done yet with 36 minutes remaining here at round 3 at Zolder.
Yeah, and we'll see if that does close us. Broadscard now with the drive-through. I'm presuming that is for the contact and with Simon Crane down at the bottom of the circuit there, down at the hairpin turn 8, as it's called. I wonder if that is the reason. I'm going to presume so, because I haven't seen any other reason as to why he would get a penalty, but Broadscard is now going to drop down. It kind of nullifies the overtake by Lycagard, but Broadscard is indeed into the pit lane. He's going to drop behind Webb and Wolf. I don't think he's going to drop behind Alan Hansen though, because he's in the very first part of the complex and he's a lap down, so I'm presuming that he's not going to drop down below those guys. But actually, because I'm focusing on Matt Webb versus Jimmy Wolf so much, but there's no need for me to, because they're a lap apart, so I can park that one for now. But Matt Webb looking to unlap himself from Jimmy Wolf. It's not actually a natural battle there.
Yeah, and we just saw Webb just letting Biancalila through in that yellow McLaren, so Biancalila still pushing as much as he can for the Musto GD.
Yes, we'll just see what is very close to Pedersen's lap time actually on the previous lap, but he's got 13 seconds to close in, so looking to be a tall order for the lead of the race. You have to say, with 13 seconds in half an hour, that's going to be, well, a real big gap to close. It's going to be at least a second a lap, and I don't think that Biancalila, I don't think anybody is capable of closing that in. You've got to say that Burst Esport are really in the driving seat in terms of this race right now. It's never over until it's over, but Burst Esport really are at the front, and it looks like they're here to stay. It looks like they're here to stay as well.
Yep, it does indeed. Win at Brands Hatch and potentially the win here at Zolders just makes those 8 points at Spa look like a little blip, a little outlier on what could be a very strong season for them. So we switch on over back to Biancalila, still powering through. He makes his way into the final chicane. Got another lap, 33 minutes remaining here at Zolder, but as you mentioned, no one seems to be capable of closing into Jesper Pedersen.
Yeah, I don't think that... Oh, dearie me, sorry, just watching Johannes Weiss there. Big mistake there, and now he's going to have his teammate, Richard Schaefer, right on the back of him, but I presume he's just going to let him through, and there he goes. McLaren just pulls to the left-hand side, and the Audi swoops around the outside there to driver's left, and now I'm not going to presume these guys are going to battle too hard, because they are Butler Powell Motorsport teammates, and Richard Schaefer has been putting down some electric lap times into the just a low 30 on that previous occasion, but Johannes Weiss in the 32s, and that's not where you want to be at all. I don't think that Schaefer's going to be able to close in on Matt Beavis since he's 20 seconds or 30 seconds up the road, but he is definitely going to be able to pull away from his teammate Johannes Weiss. Really in trouble here, and that mistake is just going to compound all his problems.
Indeed it will, but let's see just how much Schaefer can push. I mean, last time around he was, pretty much identical to Matt Beavis's time, both of them hovering around that 1:30 dead mark, but they are closing in onto Simon Crane, who was half a second slower than the pair of them on that lap.
He was indeed. I'm just waiting to see if Ottaviani has indeed served his penalty there. So the 13th placed man now is going to look to try and regain some of his losses against Jimmy Wolf. In particular, going to see when Ottaviani comes across the line. It's going to be a little while just yet, and he's got a long way to go to get back into the points. I'm afraid it's not looking good for him. So Ottaviani down in 13th, and he may well be down there to stay as well. So not looking good, but looks like we're going to have some battles developing throughout this last part of the race. So it's not going to be this quiet for the rest of the race, I don't think. Matt Beavis is closing on Simon Crane. And as always in these GT3 races, there is always something to watch. There's never really a quiet moment.
No, never a quiet moment at all with the cars spread out across the track, though. It will be good for them just to put in some laps, just to get their rhythm going again. We have been seeing a few mistakes dropping from time to time. Anderson has picked up a cut track penalty as well, so keep an eye for him, and there it is popping up on your screen. He does have that drive-through penalty.
Yeah, he's just served it and come out now as well, so Jacob Anderson's going to be way down, I'm afraid. About a minute behind Alan Hansen, who is just up ahead of him. But anyway, got half an hour remaining in this race then. We've done 90 minutes, 30 minutes to go of this 2-hour race. We are going to have the final half an hour uninterrupted for you after this commercial break. You're watching the GTR24 Sprint Series here from Zolder, round 3. We'll be back in a moment.
Communication. It started out as a conversation between two people, but as time went by and people's needs became greater, they developed more ways to communicate. Businesses today need to minimize incomplete connections. Therefore, it is critical that they provide optimal service. Xilinx desktop, mobile and web applications can process everything from normal calls and callbacks to chats, emails, and social media inquiries. Let Xilinx liberate your business.
Simplexity is a Danish designer and manufacturer of high-grade sim racing platforms. Their 3 different levels of platforms come in a variety of colors and configurations. Choose from the V4, built from 40x40mm extruded aluminium profiles, the V8 built from 80x40mm profiles, and the high-tier V12 built from 160x40mm extruded aluminium profiles. Prices range from 470 to 750 euros. Go to facebook.com/simplexity.eu and start a messenger chat to inquire more about the options for colors and customization.
Final 27 minutes of this race coming up uninterrupted here from the GTR24 Sprint Series at Zolder. We are back in Belgium for the second time this season. After the first round at Spa, we're now at Zolder for round number 3 with the interlude in Great Britain for the Brands Hatch round a couple of weeks ago. And yeah, it's still me, Ewan O'Leary, commentating alongside Yusuf once again. And yeah, we're looking forward to the final half an hour here. We look like there's going to be some battles to monitor, and yeah, it's going to be an interesting half an hour, because as we said just before the break, there's never a dull moment with the GT3s especially, so we're expecting a couple of battles, including this one for sixth with Simon Crane and Matt Beavis that seems to be developing at the moment.
Yeah, Simon Crane and Matt Beavis, the number 52 versus the number 37. Last time around, Matt Beavis closing in by a couple of attempts, and he can see Simon Crane in front of him, and no doubt his team will be egging him on, just telling him, you've got time, 26 minutes to catch just those a few seconds. I think Matt Beavis can definitely close him down, but let's see what these next few lap times will look like.
Yeah, we'll see. And now he's got that carrot dangling in front of him as well, because you can see the car in front of that Bentley. He could probably see it coming from a mile off, to be honest, it's so big, but he can definitely see it now. The carrot is dangling, as I said, and we'll see what Matt Beavis can really do, and where is he going to make this move. Not sure. The Audis seem pretty strong on the straight lines, and coming second at Spa, which is obviously very much about the straight line speed, and not so good at Brands Hatch, where it's not quite so important. They came 7th, the best car there, so yeah, they're an interesting kind of mix of a car really, and it will make passing easy when you've got the straight line speed, but can he keep up in the corners? That's the question. He just goes overshoots that final chicane there, and that can really undo some of his work. He's really back now to about 2 or 3 seconds. It's not ideal, but he's going to have to just do all that work again, really.
Yeah, but 3 tenths gone in just one corner, and hopefully, you know, that just sends the message to Matt Beavis, just calm, consistent, just put in those laps, lap after lap. You know, that's what endurance racing is all about at the end of the day, that consistency. It's not a sprint race, just take your time.
Yeah, absolutely, and Matt Beavis does need to take that advice, really, and take his time, not push quite so hard into every corner he can get his hands on, but he does need to continue on closing in this margin, and he is doing right now. Cut flying through that chicane there and bouncing it all over the curbs, and we'll see really what he can do about Simon Crane. 2.5 seconds thereabouts at the moment, but yeah, just continuing to close in. Just going to update you on some of the gaps further up the field. Looks to be about 15 seconds for Pedersen now on Biancalula, who's really starting to fall away from Pedersen. 1 second he lost on that previous lap, although Biancalula did gain 1 second on Brioni, so it's all kind of extending out in terms of the top 3. Hanyao Sabti is not really closing in on Brioni and taking advantage of that slower pace for the 71 McLaren, and Ross McGregor is kind of closing in on all of them a little bit, but not really closing up enough. It looks like these gaps are just a little bit too big to close in the final 23 minutes. They are closing, but not quite quickly enough.
Yeah, and here we take a quick look at what all of those gaps. Of course, drivers will just be making their way to the end of the race from here. No more pit stops required, but as you mentioned, those top three, Pedersen, Biancolina and Brioni, all starting to spread out. But nonetheless, 2 McLarens on the podium, and I'm sure they will be happy with that. Musto GV having a good day in the office.
Yeah, well, it's a fantastic day for McLaren in terms of their performance, because their best result leading into this race for McLaren was 15th last week at Brands Hatch, and now they've got 5 cars in the top 12. So they're doing fantastically well, and obviously the McLaren seems pretty well suited to this circuit around Zolder. There's almost no way of knowing which cars are going to be suited to which track, but these guys would... they're definitely in tune with which cars are best around which circuits. But I'm going to pose this question to you, because this is an interesting question in my mind here. Would you rather take one car through the whole season, because then you get used to the same car, you drive it, you get the setup fine-tuned, even though it might be really weak around some of the circuits, you can still get used to that car and still be very familiar with it? Or would you pick the fastest car around every circuit and just not be quite as comfortable in each car each round, but maybe be a little bit faster?
To be honest, it's a really good question, and one that I have kind of considered a fair bit on, and it kind of changes, I guess, from game to game. But I think, with these drives, they put in so much time, so much effort, so much practice towards setup, towards learning the tracks, towards learning the cars. I don't think it's that much of an issue for them, to jump from, let's say, the Audi to the Lexus. So if it was me, I'd just jump in whichever car suited the circuit best and go with that. As it looks like Manuel Biancolina having a bit of trouble with a Lexus, he will be able to get through.
He will indeed. So the McLaren continues on in second place, but as I mentioned, he's still losing time. It's a 31 for him on the last lap. Brioni was even slower, so we'll see if Al-Sabti can close in, but he's still got 10 seconds to go, so he's really not putting on the pace like I was particularly expecting him to, but never mind. That battle doesn't look like it's going to materialise for now, but it does set up a fantastic championship battle. As I said earlier, Burst Esport and AAA Esports are going to be separated by 3 points at the end of this race if all goes well, and that is a seriously close margin, and it will make these guys, it will make the nerves jangle for these guys, because 3 points is not very much of a gap at all. It's the equivalent of 1 point per round, and that is incredibly close indeed.
Yeah, very close, and I think it just kind of hypes up what is to come for the remainder of the season as well. I'm sure AAA will be right back up to their top form. 2 podiums in a row. Shame for them, they won't be able to make it 3 from 3. But let's see what they can pull out at round 4, pardon me.
Yeah, we'll see. And speaking of the season and the rounds to come, let's just update you on what the tracks are going to be for the coming rounds. So we've got, we've obviously had the rounds at Spa, Brands Hatch, and we're here at Zolder. So in 2 weeks' time, we have the Hungaro Ring to contend with on June the 10th. Then 2 weeks after that, it's the Bathurst round for another 2-hour race, and that is going to be a very good, exciting race indeed. Bathurst is an extremely difficult circuit at the best of times, and when we're going to pack 25 or 26 GT3 cars onto that circuit, it could get messy, and we think that this race is being chaotic. Well, I think Bathurst is going to just step that up an extra level.
Yeah, just wait until we get to Australia. Mount Panorama has a field 20 strong of GT3 cars that make their way. I can't even remember what that part of the circuit is called, but I think everyone knows what I'm referring to.
Well, we'll have to learn the corner names again before the actual race, because I've heard that Aiden actually is pretty keen on getting in here, so it might not be both of us. Or it could be all 3 of us. We'll wait and see, really. But it's kind of chopping and changing throughout this season. Who's really on here?
All cars, attention all cars. Please respect blue flags. Please respect blue flags.
Notification from the race director Nick Newcomb telling everyone to respect the blue flags. So people clearly being not too nice to the leaders and not letting enough people through, it seems.
Well, we called that, about a lap ago, Manuel Bianca-Lila getting caught up behind one of the Lexuses, and I think that might have been what triggered Nick to pull out that race, direction. So good to see that that is being controlled, and hopefully now the lap cars just won't potentially, cause them a big race change.
Yeah, hopefully not, but we've already seen quite a lot of race-changing crashes so far in this race. I'm just wondering to see who's got somebody's DNF now. So it looks like it's Johannes Weiss who's gone off. Well, not gone off, but he's now out of the race. So he was running right with Richard Schaefer, his teammate, but it's promoted everybody in behind him up a position. Carl Leikegaard now into 9th, and Jimmy Wolf has now got a point in that McLaren with Alessandro Ottaviani also gaining a position, but he is closing by a second a lap at the moment, and that could be a battle to watch later on in this race, because the last point is severely fought over, and you can't imagine that Jimmy Wolf is going to just have that one. Ottaviani is going to want it pretty badly.
Yeah, and don't forget Beavis and Crane will be battling. And speaking of Weiss, we saw the fact that he was ahead of his teammate Richard Schaefer. He made a mistake, had to let Schaefer through, and now another mistake, and maybe the nerves just getting to him in these final stages of the race. These drivers have been in the cockpits for a while now, and we like to say that, oh, how could you make this mistake, but the conditions are just so tricky. You have to have that mental strength, not make any of these mistakes in what is a long stint.
Yeah, it is. So when you think about it, 2 hour race is quite a long time, but obviously they divvy it up 1 hour each, and 1 hour is quite a long time to keep pounding around with the same lap time and whatever. So that's it's a difficult one, but these guys seem to be managing it so far, managing it well at that, as the battle between Crane and Beavis is really starting to get hot up now. Matt Beavis is applying the pressure to Simon Crane, and this is going to be a battle. Look at the Audi just hiding behind that Bentley there. It's so much bigger than the Audi, and he's going to be getting a massive draft effect. The Audi is strong in a straight line, and you've got to expect this move is going to be made soon, as the Audi really starts to approach. The Bentley just goes to the inside to defend a bit. Will Beavis start to the inside anyway? Oh, he fakes one way. He goes down to the inside to the other. Oh, there's nearly contact, but the Audi really showing its straight line speed there. Very impressive indeed.
Yeah, Beavis, he needs to keep a few trumps up his sleeve to put on Crane when the moment is right. He doesn't want to show Crane all of the tricks he has available to him, but he's so close through the right-handers as they make their way now down towards the chicane.
Yeah, they do. Matt Beavis, big straight line speed advantage here on Simon Crane. Can he get down the inside? No, he can't indeed. The Audi sticks behind for now, but will he get a good run off of that chicane? He's got a decent one, but he's a little bit too far back for a dive, or is he? As we go dip down the hill now, and he's gone for it, has he? Late braking there, and he's been given the space by Simon Crane. He's been given so much space that Crane's off the road, and now Matt Beavis is trying to get through and capitalise on that, but he can't quite do it. Here we go through the right-hander, and now we're going to dip over another crash now. Defence there, big defence from Simon Crane, but nothing doing down into the hairpin, and, well, going off the road there. He's gone through the gravel, and it's hard to argue for a penalty, but that is a questionable moment there from Simon Crane.
557.
And Simon Crane, that got a little bit questionable. It's so hard to run side by side through the chicane, and he cuts the corner again.
Yeah, but he's lost out on this occasion though, and Beavis is
5-2, car 5-2.
Looks like car
Give the position
52 is he's given the position to so maybe that was intentional, but I'm not entirely sure, because Simon Crane is behind anyway. I think Race Direction are pleased with that, because Simon Crane did kind of cut across the chicane to keep his position there, which is not really allowed.
Also, can I just mention as well, Ross McGregor has found a way past Hani Al-Sabti while we've been keeping an eye on Matt Beavis and Simon Crane. So Ross McGregor for the number 24 car up into 4th place.
Good spot there actually, yeah. So Hani Al-Sabti has lost his position there, and now it's going to drop him another 2 points. and we'll see if he can actually reel in Ross McGregor, but he didn't look that impressive earlier on in the race. It was a 32.8 for him on the last lap, but he's had a spin, he's had his incident on the, on the last lap, so he's dropped a second on the lap, and now he's dropped even more time on the next one. This is lap 70, so he's really running it into the chicane. He's onto the grass, all over the curb, and well, this is a problem now for Hani Al-Sabti. You've got to wonder, has he got damage, because something just doesn't look right with that car right now. A 35.2, and he's going to have to stop looking behind him, or stop looking in front of him and start looking behind him if this carries on.
Well, I was taking a look at his lap times a few laps ago, and he had put in a 34. It was a 35 that last time round, and you have to think maybe he does have damage, and I'm not quite sure how far Matt Beavis is behind, but if Hani Al-Sabti is not careful, he might find himself dropping down to 6th and maybe even 7th as well.
I think he's probably hit something, to be honest, and got some damage that way. I'm not sure what he would have hit. The thing I can think of is understeering out of turn 7, but I can't really see that happening on your own unless he was involved with the back marker, because we know that Race Control have been trying to get the back markers to get out of the way a little bit more readily than they have been so far, and maybe he has become unstuck with a lap car. But something else to note, Richard Schaefer has been into the pit lane, and he's not been overtaken by Jan Brodsgaard, but I think those two are close. Unsure as to whether they're going to be able to get a battle, but it has been allowed. It has allowed, rather, Jimmy Wolf and Alessandro Ottaviani to get into the points-paying positions. So all kinds of drama going on in the final 15 minutes here, and yeah, it's all kind of kicked off once and for all. We did say it was there's never a dull moment in GT3s, and Hani Al-Sabti's in, so this is a big moment for the championship leader, and they're going to drop big points here.
Hani Al-Sabti into the pits, and maybe could it have been possible that he had contact with Richard Schaefer? I think he was roughly about a lap ahead, and as you mentioned, Schaefer came into the pits, so I wonder if there was contact between the pair of them.
That is a reasonable assumption to make, I believe. There's Beavis and Crane both go through, so they're going to be taking advantage of this one. There's still 30 seconds before Cole Likegaard gets to the line, so he might be able to retain 7th position, but you've got to wonder, would Hani Al-Sabti have been better off sticking it out there and carrying on, because there's only 11 minutes to go, even though no matter how damaged you are, unless you're literally crawling, he seemed to be, even if he was only doing 35s throughout the race, got to think that not pitting would probably have been better in this situation.
I guess no one knows except for him and the team, and it would have been a call they'd have to make together. They can see the delta, they can see the data, they know how much time Al-Sabti is losing, and it was a fair 4 seconds a lap, but with 11 laps remaining, that comes down to about, what, 8 laps? I think he could have made it. I do have to agree with you, Ewan, but maybe we can find out after the race just exactly what the damage was to Hani Al-Sabti's car.
He's down to 10th position now. Ottaviani is also through, so this is big moment. This is a big moment, rather, in the championship. But meanwhile, Jimmy Wolf and Carl Likegaard are battling here between the two of them. Look at the run that the McLaren has got there on the Aston Martin, absolutely hiding behind that big frame. And oh dearie me, there's an Aston on the apex there. Oh my, well, that could have been a moment, but it looks like Jan Brodsgaard has had a bit of a problem, and he really didn't help out his fellow Aston Martin there.
No, he did not, and he just catches them right at the wrong spot, and he could have had a little bit more awareness, maybe pulled over before the chicane, but sometimes these incidents do happen. Wolf will not be pleased about that, neither will Likegaard, to be fair, but all's well that ends well, and Wolf can now just get his head back down in the McLaren and try to hunt down Likegaard's Aston.
Slow. Damaged car, sector 2, damaged car, sector 2.
And there is the notification from Race Control, a damaged car in sector 2, and I think that's just exactly what we saw happen.
Yeah, it's Jan Brodsgaard currently running around there with big suspension damage. You can see he's got one of the Bentleys just up in behind him, and he's not really letting him through there. I would have broken a little bit more and let him through, but he's kind of held up the number 24 there. That's Ross McGregor in the 4th position at the moment. So that Lexus is going to have to be careful as well. I hope that's not Jesper Pedersen, but it could well be. He's got well out of the way though. Oh, it's a bit...
is it a front left puncture?
We could do.
I'm just trying to wonder what it exactly is, because it looked like the front... See, look at that front left. It's completely locked up as he enters the pit lane. So I'm wondering if he's got damage to the front left of the car, or maybe he's just locking up in a completely unrelated incident. But Jan Brodsgaard into the pits, and that's going to be devastating for him, especially in these final moments of the race where so many people have been coming into the pits. Big opportunity for some of the teams lower down the field to get some of those big points for themselves.
Yeah, they are indeed. Hani Al-Sabti, meanwhile, has rejoined his 7th position. I initially commented that he was going to be down in 10th position, but that's completely wrong, because there was a lap actually between those guys. So he's now a lap behind Simon Crane, who is just in behind him here. You can see in the background that is the Bentley of Simon Crane. But Hani Al-Sabti is a lap behind him, so the big moment here. He's only going to get 6 points from this race. Meanwhile, his championship rivals are going to get 25, so the 19-point gain from a 10-point lead. It means that Burst Esport are going to lead this championship by 9 points, and the number 71 Musto Esports car are going to get 15, so they're going to gain a further 9 points on Hani Al-Sabti's team. And so considering they were 16 points behind going into the day, they're only 7 points behind now, and so it's going to leave this championship very close indeed.
Going to be very tight for that top spot, and maybe it'll change once again at round 4 at Hungary, at the Hungaroring, but we'll have to wait 2 weeks' time for that. Right now, 7 minutes remaining here at Circuit Zolder, as Jesper Pedersen leads the way from Manuel Biancalila and Tiziano Brioni. There's been no changes in those top 3 since, well, we saw Henningsen coming into the pits with about 46 minutes remaining when Pedersen took over the Burst Esports car, and he's driven flawlessly since then.
Yeah, he has, really, and absolutely formidable drive from him. He just passes the 52. Be careful there, that was very close to contact between him and Simon Crane. So the 6th place car there has been put a lap down. Now there's only 5 cars left on the lead lap, but with a lap as short as this one, it's a little bit to be expected, to be honest. There were still only 7 cars on the lead lap at Spa, and that's a much bigger circuit, you understand. And just looking at who was on the lead lap at Brands Hatch, there was 9 cars, so a similar length of circuit Brands Hatch and Zolder, but it just seems that this race has been so much more attritional. There's only 5 cars still on the lead lap, which is quite a small amount for the amount of cars that started this race.
Yeah, and you have to remember Zolder is a pretty tricky track to navigate, at least in my opinion. You know, the chicanes can really catch you out here, and there's so many places where you just have to be right on that limit, whereas when you go to a track like Spa, I think you can just get away with those mistakes a little bit better than you can do at the Zolder and indeed at Brands Hatch as well.
Yeah, and don't forget we've got the Hungaroring coming up next week, so that's going to be a difficult race. Unsure how that one's going to play out, if I'm honest, but I know that it divides opinion. Some people will be hating going to that one in a couple of weeks' time, but we're going to enjoy watching them, that's for sure, because we always do. As Alessandro Ottaviani now in the Optimum Motorsport McLaren is trying to close in on Carl Likegaard. He's been passed by Jimmy Wolf, and now he's going to start to look behind him. He's got one of the Lexuses in behind him, and he's holding him off for now. That could be Per Pettersson, maybe. Unsure as to what Lexus that exactly is, but yeah, Carl Likegaard beginning to struggle. We're into the final 5 minutes here, and there are still positional changes to be carried out, which is a remarkable turn of events, really. We had a quiet portion after an hour, and between the first half an hour of the second hour, if you see what I'm saying, it was a little bit quiet, but it's really hotted up in this final half an hour, and now it looks like we're going to have battles right to the flag.
And by the way, there might be some bad news if you are a Musto GD fan, because Manuel Biancalila, on the previous lap, he did a 39.0 and he lost about 5 seconds to Tiziano Brioni. He's done a 35.3 this time around, so I'm not quite sure what has caused a sudden drop in pace, but he needs to pick it back up because Tiziano Brioni is going to be really closing him in these final few laps.
Yeah, he is, but saying that, Brioni is nearly 30 seconds behind, so I think he's okay in terms of second place, but Brioni is not okay because McGregor is pulled him in by 3.3 seconds on the last lap, and it just seems that the McLarens, at least up front, the Musto McLarens have really dropped off the pace late on in this race, really beginning to struggle. As he said, 35.3 for Biancalula. Brioni did a 34.7. But it's really strange because down in the back of the order, Ottaviani was setting some of the fastest laps of the race, a 31.2 for him the last time around. So it seems that the tyre wear is not really disadvantaging him as much as it is the two Musto cars.
And I think that might just come down to how early Biancalila and Brioni did pit. I did join after their pit stops, and indeed it does look like there is an issue with Biancalila's car. And we'll just see. Let's take a look this time around what laps Biancalila and Brioni did pit on. They did make their drive changes before the likes of Pedersen and Ottaviani, so maybe those tyres are really, really worn down, and maybe even it's a case of nursing the car home on low fuel.
Yeah, maybe that will be the case for those guys. That will be a horrendous miscalculation if it is, though, because you can easily make it through on an hour. As you might be, well, you might be right. I'm not entirely sure. It would be a catastrophic error if Biancalula has underfield here, but you could be onto something there with 1 minute 41.9. That's a horrendously slow lap time for Biancalula. I realise what I've just said about one of the best drivers on this game, but it's seriously not where he used to be. His best lap times are 29.1, and he's way off that at the moment. But meanwhile, Conor McGregor, not Conor McGregor at all. Ross McGregor is. That just slipped out. It was kind of natural.
It was going to happen.
It was going to happen. It's a good point. Ross McGregor then trying to close in on Tiziano Brioni here. But he pulled another 1.4 seconds out of him last time. But Carl Leichengaard, I believe, it's Jan Brodesgaard, excuse me, in the Aston Martin, tried to get down the inside of him there for some reason, down at turn number 4.
So that was Brioni cutting the corner as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, just a little bit there. So it's all getting a bit pressure on for these guys. It's a bit of a strange part of the race, but the pressure really is on.
The McLarens are struggling so much as both of them run wide through the hairpin as well. And Ross McGregor, the final couple of laps, just keep it together. He's got third place in the bag as long as he doesn't make any unnecessary mistakes. But let's just wait and see how everything unfolds in these final moments. As
McGregor's in. McGregor is into the pit lane and Matt Beamish is through, and not sure why McGregor's come in now. He must have underfilled the car here because there's only 2 laps to go.
Oh no.
The race is going on for one more lap. There's 2 laps to go for him, but he's underfilled the car and he's 1 more lap of fuel. He's going to splash and he's going to dash here in a moment. Is the Bentley, or is he? He's staying there for a bit longer than I thought he was going to, but there's only 30 seconds to go, and he's stuck in the pit lane, so off he goes finally, but is Simon Crane going to get through? It looks like he is, and so Ross McGregor's going to go down to 6th position, and that is really disappointing for him, but Jesper Pedersen, is now on his final lap of this race, just 1 minute of driving left for him to go.
And I guess we didn't get the chance to see Ross McGregor try to pull the Conor McGregor move on to Beavis, or pardon me, Tiziano Brioni, but I guess McLaren, they've got a stroke of luck and they will be able to hold on to their 2 and 3 here at Circuit Zolder. But Jesper Pedersen for Bursley, for what a fantastic drive it has been from both him and Henningsen.
Yeah, it has been a fantastic drive from both of them, and they're going to go to the championship lead after 3 rounds because of this drive. We'll update you on the positions in behind after this race is complete and as they come over the line. But this has been a fantastic race from Jesper Pedersen. He's lapped everybody but the top 4. Maybe even the top 3 in this race. He's been absolutely fantastic so far. But Jesper Pedersen out of the final corner, and he is going to win the GTR24 Sprint Series Round 3 here at Zolder. Jesper Pedersen takes the victory from a very big margin indeed from Manuel Biancalula, who's got nearly a minute, in fact, as Bianca Luna really nursing that car home, a 37.7 for him on the last lap. And indeed, Matt Beavis is really closing on Tiziana Brioni for third here as well. Beavis is going to be the last car who's not a lap down. He tried to go down the inside, and there's nearly a spinning Audi in the background there. Has to be Richard Schaefer maybe. But oh no, sorry, that was Beavis, but he's trying to get past Schaefer, who's preventing this battle from taking place. Brioni is nursing that car home, as Bianca Luna just going to wait to see when he comes across the line just in 20 seconds time. But let's focus on this battle for the final podium spot. Brioni versus Beavis, and into the wall in the background for, it looks like Brodesgaard, who's had a problem there. That's a huge hit in the background, but it looks like Beavis is just going to run out of laps here. Beavis versus Brioni into the final corners, but it's going to be Musto prevailing here. What a race this has been, and it's been not without incident, it has to be said. Big accident even on the final lap there for Jan Brodesgaard, but it's a third position for Brioni, a fourth for Beavis. Whoa, what a race that was, and what a chaotic race at times as well.
Oh, and there we see on the replay what exactly happened. And the Aston Martin just getting completely caught out by, I can't remember exactly who that was, clips him, and it throws him right into the barrier. It was just out of our camera shot when we saw it live, and that would definitely explain exactly what happened in the incident there. But as the sun sets here at Circuit Zolder, Pedersen picks up the win. Henningsen doing a fantastic drive himself, and it was almost from start to finish as the Lexus team completely dominated the race. 68 seconds ahead of Bianca Lila and Primavera Brioni and Amato completing the top three.
Yeah, they've done a fantastic job here today as the Burst Esport guys, and Jesper Pedersen just doing some donuts there on the back straight before entering the pit lane now. And yeah, that was an enthralling race really, and well, what can you say about a race like that? There was drama right up until the end, and as we expected, a lot of incident and accident.
Yeah, a lot, especially in those final few laps. And Nick coming on the race, well, the race control, telling lap cars to make sure they get out of the way. I think kind of highlighted just how close it was getting in those final moments, especially in the battle for second. And Ross McGregor, 1 lap short of fuel. If he had that one more, I do not doubt that he would have been able to take third from Beavis.
Yeah, because third from Brioni, because Beavis nearly got him. So yeah, that was going to be an incredibly exciting race. I'm not entirely sure what happened really to Brioni in the final laps or Bianca Lula, because they were just really dropping off the pace for some kind of reason. They were really dropping off the pace. But there you go. You've had the 2 hours now. We are going to try and get some drivers in. So if you just finished driving, or if you're one of the drivers who have been involved in the race today, then you can come and join the green room. We'll pull you up for a quick interview before we end this broadcast out. But we are going to take a break now. You've had your 2 hours of Zolder, and there it was. What a fantastic race we have had here. Don't go anywhere though. We've got reaction from the drivers coming up after this commercial break.
Communication. It started out as a conversation between two people, but as time went by and people's needs became greater, they developed more ways to communicate. Businesses today need to minimize incomplete connections. Therefore, it is critical that they provide optimal service. Xilinx Desktop Mobile and web applications can process everything from normal calls and callbacks to chats, emails, and social media inquiries. Let Xilinx liberate your business.
Simplexity is a Danish designer and manufacturer of high-grade sim racing platforms. Their 3 different levels of platforms come in a variety of colors and configurations. Choose from the V4, built from 40x40mm extruded aluminium profiles, the V8 built from 80x40mm profiles, and the high-tier V12 built from 160x40mm extruded aluminium profiles. Prices range from 470 to 750 euros. Go to facebook.com/simplexity.eu and start a messenger chat to inquire more about the options for colors and customization.
Welcome back to the GTR24 Sprint Series here from Zolder. We're going to get a little bit of reaction now. We haven't actually got any drivers here with us, but we have got race director Nick Newcomb with us. And, well, what can you say about a race like that, Nick? It was quite a chaotic race in terms of incidents, let's say. There was quite a lot for you to occupy yourself with in terms of managing incidents and so on.
Yeah, it was. It started from lap 1. Turn 2, and I think it ended at around the final lap on about turn 7. So you could say that throughout it was quite chaotic, and yeah, we had a few incidents. Obviously, called out some blue flag warnings and positions and things like that. But it's a track I don't think is a favourite for a lot of guys, and obviously there were. That's a couple of weeks ago, but not a lot more this time. But we got through it. I think people have found out a lot more about this, where they need to set the cars up, including tyre wear and brake openings. I think some people had them a little bit tight, and I think people had some tyre pressures a little bit low and were riding over the curbs far too much and with too much force. And saying that, I'll hand over to Ewan, but obviously next race I'm really looking forward to that one. Hungaroring is one of my all-time favourite tracks.
Yeah, aren't we all? So, yeah, we'll see you next week, Nick, and hopefully it's a bit of a cleaner and there's less for you to do in terms of the incidents in the race. But speaking of going back to this one, we're firstly joined by Casper Henningsen, who we'll get to first, winner of this race, of course. And the first stint for you, I don't know, was it a quieter stint because you had Pierluca Amato up your rear end for a lot of it, but you did have you had quite a lot to do, so I guess it would be a stretch to call it a quiet stint for you. But just talk us through your battle with Amato, because unfortunately I'm led to believe it did end in a bit of an incident. How did that go for you?
Yeah, it was a bit hectic in the start. There was a lot of cars flying by, but we couldn't keep it quite simple and not get any damage. And then I think the guys in front got a drive-through penalty, which meant that we were into first, and yeah, Amato was straight behind me and kept pushing, and that unfortunately led to a minor incident, which got us a little push back, and the guys in third could push us also, but it was just trying to manage the tires from there and keeping it clean and doing some good laps, and I managed to keep that fairly good throughout the stint.
Yeah, you handed over to your teammate Jesper Pedersen in the end. Were you ever nervous in the final hour, because you had a pretty comfortable lead, it's fair to say, and winning by over a minute, and with a driver like Pedersen in the car, I guess you can't have been that nervous about what was about to happen to your car.
No, it's lovely to have Jesper with me in the car, because you know he's going to go out and put even better times than me, and he kept it really good on pace wise in this last stint, and you can definitely see that because we were at the end over a minute ahead of P2, so it was a great success and everything really came together.
Yeah, it did. Just talking about next week now as well. You've gone 2 in a row now with Brands Hatch and Zolder victories. How are you feeling about the Hungaroring in 2 weeks' time?
Just bring it on. We will try to see how long we can ride this wave and just keep the momentum going.
Well, yeah, that is the best thing to do really when you're on that kind of run. So good luck with that in 2 weeks' time with the Hungaroring race. But thank you for talking to us, Kasper Henningsen, race winner from this day. Partnering Jesper Pedersen. So thank you very much for talking to us, Kasper, and good luck for 2 weeks' time as well.
Thank you very much.
Now moving down to John Munro, who partners. I've said it again. Can't believe it. It's Ross McGregor, not Conor McGregor. It's Ross McGregor. He partners in the Simply Race number 23 in this season. So you started the car, John, in the thick of a lot of battles during that race. So just talk us through what your stint was really like, because you were on the camera quite a lot, actually, involved in all kinds of battling with the likes of a Toki and other Bentleys and Lexuses around you.
Yeah, it was a bit of a crazy first stint, to be honest. We qualified really well, so we were up in about 5th place, which was nice. But sadly, on the first lap, there was basically a couple of cars went down the inside of us, and I think the car the furthest inside didn't know I was there on the outside, so I basically got hit off onto the gravel and spun out. So rejoined the track in last position, which was obviously a bit frustrating, but it was great fun trying to fight the way back through. There was obviously a bit of chaos and a lot of good battles, but the car behaved really well. I managed to get back up from the mid-20s up into about 8th place, I think, for the pit stops. Went for the undercut with a nice early pit stop. I actually mucked up my pit lane entry, made a bit of a mistake, so completely on me, damaged the car a bit more than we had already, which put us in the back foot. But then, Ross drove a really nice stint as well. Everything pretty much went wrong towards the end of the race because we misjudged the brakes, which I think a lot of people did as well. The brakes we started losing brakes quite early on, so Ross had to manage that. And then sadly, there was a mistake made when calculating the fuel from the engineer as well, which was a bit of a shame. So we had to come in for a bit of fuel right at the end. So everything kind of went wrong towards the end. We should have had a top 3, but to be honest, given how many things did go wrong, it was good fun, and I was happy to pick up a 6th place.
Yeah, well, it's not a bad result considering everything that's gone on. Were you simply just 1 lap short on fuel, and that was the pure reason for the pit stop?
So no, it was more than a lap actually. Basically, there'd been an error made by the engineer just in the build up, I think, in terms of usage. So I think he'd calculated there was going to be 72 laps, but there was 78 or 79. So even with a bit of safety margin that we'd dialed in, it definitely wasn't enough. So we were a couple of laps short. We ran on a very low map setting for the last 5 or 6, 7 laps of the race, but realised it just wasn't going to be enough. So just Ross decided to pull it in last minute just to put in a couple litres. So very frustrating. But I mean, it was definitely a race where we learned a lot, and to come away with 6th place, given all the issues, I think we could have definitely been top 3. I think we had the pace was really strong as a qualified 5th place, and obviously Ross had very similar pace to me as well. So it's good for the future, and I think for the next round we'll hopefully try and take the fight to the likes of Jesper and Kasper.
How are you feeling about the Hungaroring next round then? Is it a good track for you and Ross, or is it one to be feared for you both?
To be honest, I don't really know. It's me and Ross are both new to the game pretty much within the last few weeks. So this championship's been our first. So I've not actually done any laps to Hungaroring. I've not driven really any of the cars in the game other than the Bentley. So there's a wee bit of work to do. I'm only able to sim race as well during the actual lockdown itself. So if things get lifted up in Scotland, I probably won't be able to race anymore. So hopefully we'll make it in time for Hungaroring and give it a go. I think it probably will suit the Bentley. It's kind of a nice compromise of a car anyway. But we'll have to wait and see. I'm looking forward to it. It should be good fun.
Yeah, indeed, we are all looking forward to that round at the Hungaroring. So thank you very much to John Munro for talking to us, the partner of Ross McGregor in that Simply Race number 23. Bentley, who finished 6th position in the end in that race. So that looks like that will wrap it up for the interviews. Unless there is anything else you want me to get to, Peter, I think that will be our stream for tonight, because we've got everyone. We've had a chat to race director Nick Newcomb. We've had a chat to Casper Henningsen. We've had a chat to John Moreau. We've got Simon Crane also in the waiting room now as well. So we'll just try and bring him up for a second if someone with the power to do so can do that. And there he is. And we'll just let him talk. And there he is. So Simon Crane now joins us. A partner of Miles Dixon in the 52 car, and unfortunately things kind of went, I don't know if they went wrong for you as such, but not the ideal ending to your race really. Just I believe you had a bit of an incident with a lapped car, a lapped Aston Martin down at the hairpin at the bottom of the circuit, and I didn't really catch what happened. I know those at home did, but just describe what that incident was really like for you, because it was kind of a bit of a strange one really.
I was pushing, trying to catch Ross. I came out of the pits, was a bit slow, and then managed to pick up the pace. Then stayed with him, and then coming out of the triple chicane, as I call it, I thought the Aston Martin was going to give a space around the outside, and then I was on the grass, managed to keep it together. Come down to the corner, broke, and then next thing I know, I got an accident in the side of me and spun me around. So it's a bit disappointed, but I think we started P18, P5. I think we should be pretty happy with that result.
Yeah, I suppose it's not a bad recovery at all there. Just talk us about your teammate Miles Dixon there, and what kind of a drive he did going through the field in the first stint. Were you nervous watching him go through the field, because it is quite a nerve-wracking experience really, trying to go from the back to the front?
Yeah, we thought we'd swap it around for this race. Miles started, like I said, qualifying didn't really go too well, but then race pace is really good. Got picked up a lot of positions, people making mistakes, and then we had a few lunges ourselves, which are pretty good job by Miles there. Managed to get a lot of positions, and came into the pits and then went from there. But yeah, I think it was good job by Miles.
Yeah, he did indeed. Now just talk us through what you're thinking going into the next round in 2 weeks' time at the Hungaroring. How are you feeling about that circuit, and how is Miles feeling about that circuit?
Yeah, Miles actually really excited about Hungaroring. I mean, personally myself, I haven't driven around there on this game, but we know the circuit well, and if as long as we just fix the qualifying problem, then hopefully we can get up into the top 3. But I know there's a lot of good drivers here, and it's for us to get to that kind of almost professional level is going to be a bit hard. But I think if we as long as we practice a lot, then hopefully we can get there.
What do you think it is about the qualifying that doesn't really resonate with your car, with your team, with your drivers? What do you think needs to be fixed in order to get a bit of a better qualifying position?
In honesty, we normally just hack around on a race field most of the time and just practice on that, and we just basically aim for consistency. Just maybe a few more practice on quality field, but we try not to aim for that. That's what we always stick to at Pulse. We just get the race pace nailed in and be consistent on that and stay within a couple of tenths per lap. But I think definitely for the next one, we definitely see that we'll improve on the qualifying and hopefully get at least in the top 10 for the next one.
All right, well, good luck with that, and good luck for the race in 2 weeks' time at the Hungaroring. Thank you very much for talking to us. Simon Crane, driver of the Pulse Sim Sport number 52, during this race. So I do believe now that there is nobody waiting for us around. There's not many people left waiting in the service. So I believe that is going to do it for our stream today. We've had a fantastic race here at Zolder. It really has been a brilliant day. There's been a lot of incident and accident, it's fair to say, but we have enjoyed some fantastic racing and a fantastic race as well, indeed. So make sure you join us in 2 weeks' time for the next round of this season at the Hungaroring. Don't forget. So 2 weeks' time, same place on a Wednesday at around 6:30 UK, 7:30 for most of you in Europe. And until next time, we'll see you soon here at GTR24. Goodbye for now.
Communication. It started out as a conversation between two people, but as time went by and people's needs became greater, they developed more ways to communicate. Businesses today need to minimize incomplete connections. Therefore, it is critical that they provide optimal service. Xilinx desktop, mobile and web applications can process everything from normal calls and callbacks to chats, emails, and social media inquiries. Let Xilinx liberate your business.
Simplexity is a Danish designer and manufacturer of high-grade sim racing platforms. Their 3 different levels of platforms come in a variety of colors and configurations. Choose from the V4, built from 40 by 40 mm extruded aluminium profiles, the V8 built from 80 by 40 mm profiles, and the high-tier V12 built from 160 by 40 mm extruded aluminium profiles. Prices range from 470 to 750 euros. Go to facebook.com/simplexity.eu and start a messenger chat to inquire more about the options for colors and customization.